Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you ain't got to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But you ain't seen no one do it quite how I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are back with another super interesting subject, but that's what we do over here at the Roger Report Live. We gonna give you the best, y'all. We gonna give you the best. That's just how we get down, okay? You ain't got to like it, but you do. And if you don't like it, it's because you love it, because that's how we get down over here. And we are today we are going to deal with why black men shouldn't be any woman's partner, okay? Why black men shouldn't be any woman's partner. And this is real talk, y'all. It's just something that should not happen, you know? And this conversation could make some folks uncomfortable, but we going to keep it real. That's what we going to do around these parts. Now, let me say shout out to the people who give me views on a regular basis, because, you know, y'all the fam. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream. Y'all are definitely helping the channel grow. Appreciate you. Appreciate it. Shout out to everybody who hypes me up every chance they get. You know, you're making things happen. Can't do it the same way without you. Shout out to the people who hit that like button. All these things are great for the algorithm, okay? All these things are great for the algorithm, and it's a small thing you can do to really help grow this thing over here, because, you know, it's in all of our best to grow this thing. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty. the great people around here. They become financial contributors over here at the Roger Report Live. I appreciate y'all big time. And a special shout out goes to It Is What It Is. Okay. Is what it is. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you being a great part of the family over here. Appreciate you big time. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You've been rocking with me for a good while, so shout out to him. Shout out to him. All right, y'all. We gonna get into a few things over here, but let me say a quick shout out to people who come through, do the thing. It's always great when you start a show that you see a couple people or two, you know, just friend or two, you know, they chilling in the audience. But if you know how it goes around here at the Roger Report Live, you know that there can only be one. So shout out to Bruce on Wayne. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Glad to have you here in the building. Appreciate you, big dog. Appreciate you. Shout out to Brooklyn's finest. What's up, my brother? What's up? Glad to have you in the building. We got my main man, the pit master over here, who helps keep things in order. Shout out to the pit master and the pit crew. Chef Mike's Roundtable is in the building. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. We also got my main man, Trail Bentley, representing like he always does. Hashtag long live habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hail Hydra. Shout out to Floyd Thompson. What's up, my brother? Yay, yay. My main man, Inspired Truth Broadcast. What's cracking? What's cracking? My main man, FBA Gold P is in the building. What's good, my brother? What's good? We got Music Man 1982 in the house. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Michael Watson is here as well. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. And you know what? Inspired Truth Broadcast, you know, there's a question we asked yesterday. I just want to make sure that you can do it on air, off air, whatever. We need though, because you dropped your money, man. You dropped your money. So we got to give you that show. We need to know, do you want women as a part of that show? Is that like a requirement to do the show that you say we gonna do? I ain't gonna even say suggested because you said we gonna do it because you, my brother. Are you making it mandatory for women to participate in that particular show? You know, because Black Guru did ask that. I think that was a very good question before I put that one together. On are you requiring women to participate in that show, or is it something you want as an opinion of men? You know, you kind of let me know, brother. Let me know when you get a chance. Y'all, and I'm going to say, y'all, shout out to everybody here, y'all. I got a little caught up in yesterday, y'all. I was watching yesterday's show to see if Roger was wrong. Okay? I started listening to that lady, y'all. My interaction with that lady, just to kind of see if I was wrong. Man, I would do the same thing over again. I'm just going to keep it real. I would do the same thing. Oh, I appreciate everybody you know who gave me the advice, but well, I ain't gonna say I do the same thing over again because technically I won't. We're gonna do a different approach in the future. But I'm gonna say I ain't mad at yesterday. I'm gonna say that. That's what I'm gonna say. Just to keep it. I ain't mad at yesterday. Okay, I ain't mad at yesterday. Shout out to you, Inspired Truth. He said women aren't mandatory, and they aren't a mandatory requirement, but it may be helpful. Well, I'm gonna try to make sure we get a couple of them in there when we do that show. You know what I'm saying? Because I respect you so much and honor you so much. We're gonna try to make that happen. Real talk. Real talk. Hey, shout out to you, Chef Mike. You don't want me to lie, do you, brother? You don't want me to lie. We gonna do different next time, but I ain't mad, brother. I ain't mad. But today, y'all, we gonna get into it because there's this thing going on that Black men are being bombarded with, and you know what? We got to write our own ships, y'all. We got to write our own ships, okay? We got to write our own ships, okay? Now, Black women tell us that they want a partner, okay? They want to know if they're in a relationship, especially with a Black man, that they got a partner, okay? They want somebody to be in it just as deep as them, all right? Now, they'll talk about having a partner, And they will also talk about how that partner needs to be a provider. Okay? Now, for years and years and years now, women keep pushing a man's supposed to be a provider. Okay? And he's supposed to be a protector. All right? He's supposed to be a partner. But he's not supposed to be patriarchal. This is an interesting gumbo people got going on. You're supposed to be a partner, according to the women. You're supposed to be a protector, according to the women. You're supposed to be a provider, according to the women. But you ain't supposed to be patriarchal, okay? You're not supposed to be that, though. All right? And you know what? In case y'all ain't found out, I want every black man to know, in case you ain't found out. And I know y'all know. And I want to say, for every woman who comes across this channel, I want her to know it too, y'all. I want her to know it too. First of all, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, whether it's part of your culture or not, whether it's part of your religion or not, let's be real about this, y'all. It's okay to be gay in America. Legally. You may not like gay people. Because gay people swear it's some people out there that don't like it. They swear it is, okay? You know, I ain't gonna fight that fight, but they swear it's people out there who don't like them and they do stuff to them just because they're gay. I ain't seen it, but they swear it's a group of people out there that do stuff to them just because they're gay. Now, I'm not saying I'm looking for it, okay? So I ain't saying it don't happen. I'm just telling what they report. They report that there's people out there that mess with them simply because they're gay. Okay, cool. But legally, you can be gay in this country. Okay? Now, I don't participate in gay stuff because that ain't what I want. You know, truth be told, I don't even hang out with gay people because we got different interests. Okay? I people have asked me before, well, do you hang out with gay men? I say, well, what me and a gay man gonna do? I'm trying to look at women, he's trying to look at men. What we gonna do together? You know? The question don't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know what you want me to do with a gay man. And he tried to handle his gay business, you know, which he can do in America. Okay, he can do that, you know. And being from Chicago, they got a whole section of town where, no, not 100% of the people over there are gay, but if you go to a specific part of the town here in Chicago, it's a pretty high chance you're going to run into another gay person there. So if you gay, you go to this particular area, you're not 100% guaranteed, but you got a pretty high chance of meeting other gay people. They got their own little spot where they kick it at, okay? Now, I can't guarantee everybody will come across over there gay, but you got a high chance. And I'm pretty sure it's places like that all over the country. And since it's legal to be gay, of course, there are going to be people who form relationships and they're going to have partnerships. Nothing wrong. Hey, nothing wrong with that from their perspective. No, it's not against their religion. It's not against their belief system. That's what they're doing. But see, I don't really dabble in gay people stuff. I'm talking about heterosexual folk. So, as black men, we got to start asking our question. Why black women want us to be gay? Because gay people do partnerships. Let's just keep that real, y'all. Let's just keep that real. Gay people do partnerships. Now, this ain't me jumping on gay folks because I ain't worried about the gay folks. I ain't a participant. Okay? That's their lifestyle. But you got to ask yourself at some point, why do black women want black men to be gay? Because they talk about relationships and then they say, I want a partner, but they want a black man to participate in the quote unquote partnership. I mean, if you're going to be gay, just be gay. Go get you a woman. It is what it is. We ain't trying to make you not be gay. If that's how you want to get out as a woman, It's America. You got a right to participate in a gay lifestyle. And I'm gonna tell y'all, as men, even though women try to shame you, you don't have to be gay. Now, if you're a young man and you want to be gay, that's your business. If you get another person participating in the gay lifestyle with you, that's your business. It's legal in this country. It's legal. But as a straight man, you don't have to be gay just because women want partners. Okay? You do not have to be gay just because women want partners. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, y'all, as a straight man, I don't do partnerships with women because I'm not gay. And realistically, if she tries to be my partner, she's going to fail. Because a partner implies that we're going to have the same level of responsibility. And what woman makes a good partner with a man in a social situation? Now, you might say some partner at, maybe when you was at school, you had a partner on a project. Possibly she did just as much as you did. Possibly. You know, maybe in grammar school, maybe in middle school, maybe junior high, maybe high school, college. You know, maybe you had a woman. Okay, well, maybe a girl up until a certain point. Maybe you had a good partner that was a female, even though you was a guy. Maybe you had a good partner then. Maybe you got into the workforce and you had some assignment and some woman was your partner. And maybe she actually carried her end and, you know, she did just as much work as you did. I'm not saying that can't happen. But in a relationship, what woman finna be a man's partner? Okay? I got a chuckle, man. Shout out to Trail Billy. He said, I had a lab partner. She sucked. I'm just gonna say, Trail Billy, I understand. That's one response, and I'm gonna give you another response. I hope so. Whichever one fits properly for you. Because I don't know when you had a lab partner. Whichever one that properly fits. Okay. So look, y'all. As men, I understand they're trying to create a social norm where black men, you know, we think we're supposed to be partners to people. We don't make good partners. Okay? We just shouldn't do it. Okay? We just shouldn't do it. And there's a lot of black women out here who say that black men just don't. They say they try to be with black men and it don't work out. And you know what? I believe them. At least some of them. Okay, I believe at least some of them. Okay. They really push that partner thing, and I think that's why they run into a lot of problems. They present black men with partnership, and because they're not good partners for black men, it falls apart. Okay, yeah, I'm saying it, y'all. Black women present partnership, and then they are usually horrible partners for black men, so it falls apart. That's simple at the end of the day. Okay, shout out to Black Rule Strikes. He says, except for small insular communities of devoutly religious people, there are no real wives in America. All of the other marriages are one-sided partnerships whose terms will be dictated by the state. You know, and see, this is the thing, y'all. If you as a man allow yourself, okay, and Black Who Strikes also say, he said, and the only real black marriages in America are Islamic. Woo! Woo! That's a fire right there. I seen him start a fire and throw the log on it. That's a fire right there. Look, man, black men, it is okay for you to tell a woman she's going to have to make a choice. She can have a partnership or she can have a provider. See, I'm going to tell y'all a game that's been running. It's been running for a little while. Okay? And let's be realistic about this, y'all. If you are a partner with a woman and you are a provider for a woman, normally that's going to make, well, especially if there's no patriarchy, which, y'all know black women don't like patriarchy from no black men. So you got no patriarchy going. All right. You're a provider, but you're also a partner. That's a good way to find yourself being a sucker. Okay. Think about that, y'all. Just think about it. Partner plus provider equals sucker. Partner plus provider equals sucker. Now, I'm going to come back to that. But shout out to No Placeholder. Appreciate the super chat as well, my brother. He says, affirming Black Uru's previous statements, hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Well, shout out to you, my brother. Appreciate that big time. All right. And it's a very important statement. Okay. Partner plus provider equals sucker. Now you can change that. You can say provider plus partner equals sucker. Because that's pretty much what you're going to get. So now you got a lot of women telling you they want you to be a partner, and you also have to be a provider while you're being a partner. Okay? Black men shouldn't be any woman's partner. Just real talk. Now, if you are gay and you're a woman and you want a partner, that's fine, but leave black men out of it. Okay? See, if two women get together, that's a partnership. If two men get together, that's a partnership. That's why they say they're partners. All right? But see, when you heterosexual, you're looking for a wife or you're looking for a husband. Or at least that's what you should be looking for if you're heterosexual. Now, I can't tell y'all not to be gay for the gay people who want to be gay. This America, you can do how you want to do. Okay? But as a black man, soon as a woman tell me she want to provide her and she want to be my partner, she just signed her walking papers. She may know it, she may not know it, but she just signed her walking papers. Now, I want y'all to really pay attention because I understand the internet gets inundated with a lot of stuff and there's a lot of messages. And if you accept certain messages, if you allow them to get into your subconscious, they're going to rule you. Okay? If you allow them to get in your subconscious, they are going to rule you. You have no reason to let nonsense rule you. You grown. Let the things you think are important rule you. I cannot be with a woman and be her partner and her provider. You don't get that. If you want me to be your partner, let's pretend I would even entertain this, y'all. Let's pretend I would entertain being a quote-unquote partner with a woman. Okay, well, you start off in life, I'm going to talk about the folks who are 18 and they've gotten out of high school. Okay, whether they got their GED, whether they got their diploma, 18 plus, male and female. Okay, because, kids is different. All right, so we got out of high school. Me and some beautiful young lady, okay? But she wants me to be her partner. All right? Now, I don't recommend people do it, but I know some folks, y'all be shacking up. Okay, so we gonna shack up. How we gonna do this? And I'm supposed to be your partner and your provider. How do we work this out? Because if you tell me I'm your partner, all right, I'm trying to, I'm trying to get a place, you trying to get a place, we trying to get a place together. Because we for some dumb reason want to live together. Okay? Even though I don't like her enough to marry her, I want to live with her. Even though, you know what I'm saying, I know this is bad and I'm not recommending anybody do it. Just using this as an example. So we 18, right? Okay. I'm thinking I'm supposed to make a home with this chick. So now what we gonna do? We ain't got no money. What we gonna do? Well, you got to get a job because you a man. Okay, cool. All right. I ain't got no problem with that. Heck, I'm 18. I'm out of high school. Okay, I'm gonna get a job. Okay. Cool. All right. Now I'm looking at my quote unquote partner. Okay, baby. Well, now you got to get a job. What you mean I got to get a job? Well, baby, you my partner, ain't you? But I'm a woman. Baby, you said you want to be my partner. Yes, I want to be your partner, but I'm a woman. Well, what that's supposed to mean? Well, that means you get a job. You make sure we straight. Well, what you gonna do? Well, I'm probably gonna go to school. Oh, all right, okay. Well, she gonna go to school. All right, cool. I work, she go to school. All right. Now time goes by. She done got a degree. Let's say she a nurse now, y'all. Let's say she's a nurse. She done got her degree. Okay. Hey, shout out to Compassion Encounter. He's a 67 watching 23 likes. Nigga still in the internet, bro. Hey, look, y'all. Y'all gonna have to do better than that. I give y'all the best show on social media, and all you can give me is 23 likes with 67 people watching. Like, come on now, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Okay, I'm finna talk about something on the real, and this what you doing? Come on now, you got to do a little better than that, y'all. Let's get the likes up. Okay, stop being stingy with the like. Now because I love y'all, and I know I'm so entertaining. I know y'all just came up, you forgot because you were so enthralled by the show. But we ain't gonna make no excuses now. Get them likes up. We ain't gonna make no excuses. Okay, let's get it together. Okay. Now, y'all. Let's get back to it now. But I'm gonna be watching the likes now. See, now I got to use my other device and start watching what the likes looking like. This is what y'all making me do. I don't want to do this. I'm trying to do my thing. And y'all got me over here trying to watch some likes. Come on now. Come on. All right. So now I done got with this woman. She go to school and like a sucker. Like a sucker. I'm letting her go to school. What am I doing? I'm out here. I'm working. I'm doing whatever job they gonna give me to get as much money as I can. Why? Because she got to be comfortable while she go to school too. Now she got to be able to come home. She got to be able to do her homework. Okay. She got to be able to study. All right. She got to get that degree. Now, I know some of y'all are gonna be like, well, you know what? She can take care of the house too. I mean, she can't take care of the house to the point that it will affect her studies. Well, it don't take that long to study. How you know? How can I tell a woman how long it takes her to study the material so she can pass the different tests, the different examinations, all the different things she got to do to make it certified in her field? How can I tell her how long that's going to take? See, she ain't going to even respond to that properly. Well, baby, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 3 hours a night to study because I'm going to need you to clean this. I'm going to need you to cook that. I'm going to need you to spend some quality time over here. We got to go to this particular event. And I know y'all might be saying, what guy going to say all this? Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. Shout out to Gold P. Gold P said, you know what I say? Don't be no sucker out here. Well, shout out to you, Gold P. Shout out to you. And I'm going to get some more stuff in that came from yesterday, right after the show, in a couple more moments, just so y'all know. So now I'm doing all this extra work so she can be comfortable becoming a nurse, just for example. Now you could take the nurse out, you can put anything in there. You can make it a lawyer if you wanted to, okay? You can make it whatever profession you want to pick. It don't make no difference. But the thing is, as the man, because you're a provider, but you also a partner, you got to make sure she's straight while she gets her degree. Now, this is the thing that they don't promote too much. If she gets a degree, you now have to be replaced because her status is more important than your relationship. And she can't be no nurse and you got some random job because you got out of high school and found some place to work. And I get it. As a man, you like, but bro, I worked to help her get her through school. I was paying for books while she was going to school. Okay. She said, something was short here and she needed $500 to take care of it. I gave it to her. I get you, bro. I get you. She said it over here. They said she needed $1,200 and I gave it to her. Bro, I hear you. Over time, stuff like that gonna happen. Well, she wanted to go out with her friends and her friends was going out. Everybody was quote unquote kicking it. And she wanted to go, but she ain't working because you putting her through school. Well, okay, I get you, bro. So what you do? You gave her 200 here, you gave her 300 there. You did this, you did that. All so she can still have an enjoyable experience while she goes to school. Okay. Also, she can have that enjoyable experience while she goes to school. Okay. And now we done got to the point that she done got out. Okay. Thanks to you being such a good partner. Okay. Thanks to you being such a good partner. She got a lot less debt to worry about. And she can get out here with a nice job. Okay. Making more than you. Because you just went straight into the workforce. So she making more than you. And even if she don't make more than you, she can meet a man who does. So now that you done got her straight, she out of school. Now she's able to afford that nice dress. Why? Because she ain't gonna pay no bills in the house. Why would she pay bills? You're a provider, ain't you? And you sitting there talking about, baby, I thought I was your partner. Baby, you are my partner. But your part of the partnership is paying all the bills because you're a provider, you're a man. Well, baby, you out of school now. I was down with you. I stayed faithful to you. I wanted to go have sex, but you was studying and I let it go. All them times I came to you, baby, I was on hard. And I came to you, you said you had to study. And I let it go because we partners. But look. That was cool. And I appreciate it. But that's over now. All right? I done got my degree. I done got a job. I'm making some money. Why are you trying to stop me from enjoying myself? Baby, I ain't trying to stop you from enjoying yourself. What I'm saying is the rent got to be paid. That's all I'm saying. Well, you've been paying it all this time, haven't you? Huh? Ain't you been paying it all this time? Yeah, I haven't. But baby, it's a struggle at this point. Okay? You see how tired I be? I'll be putting in overtime to make sure everything's cool, to make sure you straight. I done gave you money to kick it with your friend. I done been by your side the whole way through. And you know what? I appreciate that. But if you've been taking care of the rent out, look, I still need a man that I can depend on. So she gonna give you the speech. Now you sitting there like a sucker, hearing all this stuff. And what she gonna do? She gonna go to work. She gonna meet a man doing better than you. And I'm just talking about from a financial aspect. Because she gonna meet the guy who also went to school. Who y'all think they meet when they go to school? She gonna meet the guy who went to school. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that black women gonna always choose up, because they don't. I understand that. But I'm saying the possibility is there. It is there. So she might make her way with another nurse. Or she might do what a lot of women do, y'all, because there's a little ugly secret that goes on in the medical field. And I'm gonna tell you how, one of the ways I know a lot of nurses are hoes. Matter of fact, a guy found out about that. He put it out there to the world. it turned into a big deal a little bit, okay? But I'm gonna tell you, it's an underground world to go on with nurses. Okay. A lot of nurses secretly want a doctor. Okay. They secretly want a doctor. And a lot of nurses have accepted that they ain't going to be able to necessarily get a doctor, but they're going to be in proximities of doctors. So guess what some of them going to do? They going to get a little doctor on the side. They're going to get a little treatment on the side. That's what okay? They're going to get a little treatment on the side. All right? Now you going to work, you're doing your thing, you're making sure stuff is straight. She's starting to get paid because she done got a job in the field that she wanted to work in. And while she looking at you as you're not ambitious enough, because you made sure she was straight. So you're not ambitious enough. And you work at not to put no company down. I'm gonna go with Walmart because I think they one of the biggest companies out there. So we're gonna go with Walmart. You work in the Walmart warehouse. you working in the Walmart warehouse. But she going to work with all these other people that went to school. Okay. I'm not saying she can get those guys, but she does have access to those guys. And a lot of women gonna accept that I just take a little treatment. I may not be able to get the guy, but I take some treatment. And guess what? She gets to spend all that extra money she now making because you are such a good partner / provider. She doing well, spending money that she should be spending on you, on them. Or even if you say, okay, she ain't gonna even go that far to spend all her money on them, but she gonna kick it with him. She'll pay for her stuff while he pays for his. Now, why would she do something like that? Because she wants to be in proximity of guys doing better than you. Because you're not ambitious because you provided for her. And guess what? In her mind, that's not ambition. It's only ambition while she needs you. But the moment she believes she don't need you anymore, it's no longer ambition in her mind. And Janet told us, y'all, she was dropped the clue. See, we got to learn to listen to women. She said it, y'all, what have you done for me lately? You are an ambitious man while you're paying for her to get through school. But the moment she finished, you're not ambitious anymore. Now you're a loser because you didn't better yourself. Yeah, that's how I go, y'all. You didn't better yourself. Yeah, I get it. You want to argue with her about the fact that you was making sure she was straight. Bro, don't nobody care. I'm a nurse now. You work in a warehouse. You're beneath me. Because you're a partner / provider. Now, see, this is the thing, y'all. At the end of the day, this is the choice you made. And we got to sit with our own choices. And it's good for us to grow up as men and look back and say, well, I haven't been doing this thing right. See, look, the first 18 years of your life, you was a kid. Okay? Don't put so much weight into your kid decisions. You got to start examining, what have I been doing since 18? And is this working out for me? But see, if you believe in being a partner and also believe in being a provider, you're going to end up in bad situations. That's why it's not good for any black man to be any woman's partner. Stop worrying about black women complaining online or wherever they're going to complain at about how they can't find a man who on his square doing what he's supposed to do. Don't worry about all that. Stop looking for partners. Okay? Stop looking for partners. See, a man should be a provider, but he should be a leader, protector, and provider. And you protect and provide for the people you lead. You don't lead partners. Partners do what they want to do. Now, I understand as a man, you're going to logically say, well, partners are supposed to get together and discuss things and figure out what the best option is for them. Okay, cool if you in business. But if you're talking to a woman, bro, partners do what they want to do. Because she's a partner, which means she has just as much control as you, and she going to do what she wants to do. If that conflicts with what you're trying to do in life, that is your personal problem. Because ain't going to be no patriarchy in y'all partnership. Okay? And I need y'all to know that. Ain't gonna be no patriarchy in y'all partnership. So you ain't gonna lead squat. Okay, you ain't gonna lead squat. That's just how the deal is. And the thing is, as a man, if you accept the deal, that's on you. Ain't no love out here for you. Ain't no mercy out here for you. You took the deal. You're gonna have to either let that deal go or never get into that deal. And if you've gotten out that deal, don't get into another one. And I'm saying boldly to black men, you're gonna have to make a woman pick. Now, if y'all gonna be silly enough to be a partner, make her pick. Do you want a partner or you want a provider? We can do this one or two ways. And if she says she want a partner, make her be a partner. Baby, you my partner. You got to get half that rent. Okay? If y'all somehow stay together long enough where y'all buy a house, well, baby, you gonna have to put down half the money. Baby, you gonna have to pay half the mortgage. You gonna have to pay half the car note. You gonna have to pay half the light bill. But you got a better job than me. You make more than me. I'm going through school. Man, I ain't got no, man, look, you chose what you I think it was Joe Montana, y'all. If my memory is correct, I believe it was Joe Montana. He was talking about, when he was playing football and somebody was talking to him about making more money than he was making more money than them because he was the quarterback. I forgot what the other position was. Joe Montana said, hey, you chose your position. Now, that might be cold, but it's real. Okay, that might be cold, but it's real. But Black Uru, just give me one moment, please. I want to, give a couple shout outs. I wanted to get into the show a little bit before I gave these shout outs because I want to make sure people heard these things, y'all. I had a great day after the show too, y'all. I had a great day after the show. And y'all know I read some super chats on the way out of the show, and then I also read some cash apps. Well, I read I read some cash apps when we was going off air. Okay. And to my pleasant surprise, a little bit off air. Look, we was a little bit off air at the time, but 2 more cash apps came through. Okay. So shout out to my main man, Universal UC. He came through. He said, Roger, my patriotic salute, brother. And I appreciate that, Universal UC. My man dropped $25.57. That's right, $25.57. Woo! Shout out to you, my brother. I appreciate that big time. Appreciate that big time. And thank you very much for the Trail Bentley tax. Much respect to you, brother. Much respect to you. Lunch was on him yesterday, y'all. Lunch was on him yesterday. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate that big time. And also, there was another cash app that came in a little bit later. And y'all, I want y'all to remember, over here at the Roger Report Live, $ the Roger Report, that cash app is open 24 hours a day. Just because it ain't convenient for you to get it done while you're on air, don't mean we ain't going to acknowledge you later on down the road. So you can send all the off-air money you want, okay? All the off-air money you want. Appreciate you. Now, my man say, please stay on this dark side topic, okay? And I appreciate that because we definitely was on a quote-unquote dark side topic yesterday, and we going to talk about that more, y'all, because we going to put it in the black lexicon, okay? It's something women doing. That ain't something we doing. And we ain't going to deal with it like we doing it. We going to point it out. But see, y'all, this was from my main man, Clubber Lang. And I appreciate you, Clubber Lang. And he dropped $100, y'all. $100 yesterday. So shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Now, Clubber Lang, I just want to make sure, because you said please stay on this dark side topic. Now, were you dropping $100 for a specific topic when you said that, or you just encourage it? I just want to make sure you ain't dropped 100 in with that type of statement, and we don't do the show that you want. Because I didn't say it before, y'all. I do a show for 100 because I'm gonna do that research and we gonna make it good. I'm gonna do what we got to do. So I just wanted to make sure. I think this was just support, but if I'm wrong, let me know. Okay, shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. And I'm gonna get the flow to Black Uru so you can do what you want to do. Back with the subject of today's show, but I just wanted to make sure we give those folks the love because I appreciate the love. Real talk. So, Black Uru. All right. We're dealing with why black men should never be any woman's partner. And we dealing with this whole ideal of being a provider, but also being a partner. What can you say on this subject, my brother?
Yeah, Roger, thanks for having me. I hope you and the other brother on the panel, folks in the public chat, are doing well. Um, I'm I'm inclined to be somewhat to play somewhat a sort of a polemical advisor position in this discussion. In that, because I am so much older than I guess you and most of the people who listen, I try to not project too much of my perspective into something that I'm, not going to be a part of likely much into the future. So I'll just speak in terms of just sort of observations. I can talk about my own marriage and my own history, but it's so my background, my wife's background, especially, is so different from that of most who will listen to me that I can't use it as a basis for advising much on what much younger Black men and or women should do. Uh, but I said in the public chat earlier that, again, except for a small group of very religious people and sort of insular in that they pretty much stick with their own, and they kind of are fairly independent, not independent, but to a substantial degree operate different socially from other Americans, except for those groups of people where the men can truly be the patriarchs in those communities. Except for those, there are no real marriages in America. Certainly not a husband and wife marriage effective. They all are these one-sided legal quote partnerships where the state and the women, or the women via the state, can leverage power over the men, either via the children, via property, via income of the man. So these are not really marriages. These are one-sided legal partnerships, and in some ways, very often, somewhat distorted partnerships. There effectively are no marriages in the United States of America, not in any sort of real patriarchal, traditionally patriarchal way. I'm going to end my opening statement there, but I'll build on that a little bit later.
Oh, that was sober. The other just
Well, yeah,
dropped a
yeah. Go
stone
ahead.
cold missile on everybody.
Well, so you want to be a provider. Okay, you the next up. You got the mic. Let's hear it, brother. Let's hear it.
Happy Thursday to everybody.
Happy Thursday, brother.
And since the elder already dropped the nuke, I might as well let y'all deal with the fallout. So y'all want to be providers for these women, huh? But let me tell you, while you're at work, outworking yourself, outworking your shadow, what she's doing. You see the nice kitchen that you just renovated? That cost $50,000. Yeah, it's a nice kitchen. Man, that's food. I see it. It's nice. But what your wife is doing in the meantime while you're at work, she's filming TikToks, bad mouthing you. In the nice kitchen with the big, beautiful appliances. Nice. She's making TikTok telling everybody how much of an idiot you are, how much you left the toilet seat up one too many times, how much she has to train you like a dog. While you're at work, killing yourself to provide for her, she's bragging about, I'm not gonna cook for my husband. I'm I'm just gonna send him a text message and tell him to buy Chinese food, buy me pizza. I'm not gonna cook. I don't feel like it. That's what she's doing while you're at work. And that's not the worst part. I'm not even gonna talk about the part where she's getting pushed inside the mattress by the pool boy. But I'm gonna leave it here for you. So since y'all wanna be a provider, remember that part also. The part where she's going to constantly trying to embarrass you in front of the rest of the world. Thank you.
Okay.
Get that separate on that last point he made. Get that separate, privately kept Bing account and strategically placed cameras, hidden strategically based cameras on that last point that you made. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Now we got my main man. Ain't seen you in a while. We got Dead Set Anime in the building. Good to hear from you, brother. Good to hear from you. You got the mic.
Okay. Well, first of all, I have to separate whether there are children involved or not. Because if there's children involved, then there is no question about the provider status. Now, if you're just dating, it's partners all the way until, you want to elevate. But, without that contract and all the protections that come with it, dating is just dating. I don't expect to be, carrying the load for somebody that I'm just dating and then, and laying pipe to. And I'll leave it there.
Interesting. Okay.
Why do you think that's it? Do you think if there are children involved that the father should be the exclusive provider or the sole provider?
No, what I'm saying is that if there are children involved, then whether he's sole provider or not, he's going to have to provide regardless.
Well,
And I guess you could call that a moral point of view, but for me personally,
No,
if it's my legacy,
obviously a father should provide for his children. I was just trying to clarify whether you think then does that mean that the man should be the sole provider of the woman, and the children? But that does not appear to be what you're saying.
oh yes, he don't have to be the sole provider for the woman, but it is in the children's best interest that he takes care of her also.
And this is where I'm going to suggest that men learn to separate certain things so there's no misunderstanding about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Dating is something you do before you're in a relationship with a person. Okay. Now, if you get into a relationship, you need to make sure that that's established, because women, they're going to play games sometime about what they can and can't do. And I didn't know you felt that way. And I didn't know we was in a relationship because you never came out and said, I do not suggest you leave it up to interpretation on whether you're in a relationship or not. And dating is the thing you do to see if you want to be in a relationship with a person. Now, once you have that answer, you're going to have to make a decision. Are we going to do this as a partnership or not? Because women have sayings that they make up, and they tell us certain things, but they're saying. She say the way you start is how you finish, which means what? You need to know what she actually is agreeing to, because when she goes into something else, you need to be able to remind her what she agreed to, and if she ain't gonna stick to her part of the agreement, you could just see yourself out the door. That's to me, never leave it up for interpretation on what y'all got going on. Because I'm saying, as a black man, you're too important to leave it up for interpretation. I'm saying that you too important to leave it up for interpretation. Women love being in the abstract. Okay, they love being in the abstract because they feel like you can't pin them down on nothing. And for people that try to avoid accountability, that's a wonderful place to be. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's a wonderful place to be. So to me, there should be no children involved because you're only dating. So it shouldn't even, kids shouldn't even exist at that point. Now, Compassion and Kaizen came up. I think you was trying to get up here, buddy. You get your opening statement in, my brother.
Let me fix my mic real quick, bro.
Okay, well, we gonna go over to demonetize this dude. We gonna go to demonetize subscribers, and we'll let you get in before, and we'll come back to Compassion. Demonetize subscribers, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
Man, it seemed like every time I report your stream or try to get you taken off of YouTube, your subscribers grow. And it seems that you got 111 people watching today, which is dang near an all-time record for you. So I think you owe me money. I'm just saying, brother, like it just never fails. Every time I've hated on your stream, you grow.
Well, you know what?
I give you super chats. I don't understand.
In that context, I'm gonna say keep the hate alive.
I tell you, man. I think I'm gonna go ahead and unsubscribe to this channel, but I'll listen for the rest of the day and I'll take it from there.
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna ask for your consideration before you make your final decision. As you listen, just give some consideration to sticking around before you make that final decision.
Absolutely, brother. Carry on with the subject. I'll try that.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Real talk. All right. Compassion, are you ready to go? All right, Compassion going once. Compassionate going twice. If he ain't ready, we gonna get my main man. Oh, Lord have mercy. We gonna turn it over to Roger demonetizing women. Y'all in these names, but Roger demonetizing women. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
No, it's Roger demonizing women. That's what
bad.
you do.
My bad. Oh, I'm demonizing. Oh, Lord have mercy. We got some blowback from yesterday.
I think Uru stated very eloquently the state of marriage and relationships out here. I'd like to say, regardless of what's being propagandized out there, we're not created equal. We're not the same, and men need to get comfortable with letting women know this from the beginning in dating, in casual conversations, and especially in marriage. And if a woman is not willing to serve as the role of a wife from the very beginning, if she's not aware of that and willing to serve in that role, man, you don't even need to waste your time talking to her. And that's my statement.
Well, I think that's a very legitimate statement.
Well, here's the thing. Really, there is no deal you can make with any American woman that you can hold her to. Period. You can't hold it by any marriage. Certain parts of the or certain elements you can add to a prenuptial agreement, but that's going to be subject ultimately to the opinion of a judge, assuming she attempts to put aside that agreement. Like, we saw Dr. J had a 30-year prenup, right? And then, he still had to end up having to pay out more than he had in that agreement. So there's nothing you're going to be able to say with a woman and then be assured, agreement you're going to be able to make that is going to be assured that it's going to be upheld either by her and or by the law. So you don't really have a marriage because you're not the actual leader of that family, of that marriage, of that household. You got the woman can easily use the state and or be used by the state to undermine whatever you attempt to do. That is not a marriage.
Elders out here killing hope today.
I mean, there's something to that. Compassion and kindness. Are you ready?
Yeah, no, I'm good, bro.
I was gonna say you need to get in now, bro. You need to get in now.
No, just to piggyback. What's up, fellas? Just to piggyback on Uru's point, it's a 360 deal. The only deal available is a 360. For those of us that you understand the music industry commonplace sign artists to 360 deals. That's all they offer. If you wanted to get into the game of the music game, you signed a deal in which you basically got an upfront bonus, and then they retain the other party in the deal retain all the rights and ownership of everything valuable in the deal. In modern terms, marriage and even cohabitating, what you're talking about today, Raj, is signing the 360 deal. To be a partner / provider, you're a fucking moron. You're signing a 360 deal. So don't be surprised when you end up like Nina Simone or a lot of the artists 20 years later, you're broke and fucked up because you signed a 360 deal thinking that you was going to be able to recoup and do something nobody else ever does. The only way you get around that is like the music industry and the artists in the industry did, which is remain independent as possible.
Ooh-wee, it's getting rough up in here. Shout out to my man Landon. He say Uru out here assassinating hope. I think I'm starting to hear that sentiment all across the board. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm starting to hear that all across the board. I don't think it's just him, but that's just me.
He's not assassinating hope. He's just giving you giving you the real. This is the battle. This is the landscape of the battlefield. You only deal on the table with modern women in pretty much any capacity is a 360 deal. Do you want to be a rapper that bad, my nigga? That's the question you gotta ask.
Understand if you assert that you're the provider in America, that will be used against you when that woman decides to divorce you. That will be used against you. Every bit of power, especially economic power, that you assert, or any forms of real disproportionate power that you assert in that marriage, will be used against you when you go to divorce court. So declaring this provider status is actually unwise strategically today in America. It's unwise. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for your very strength to be used against you.
Okay. Now we got the nameless protagonist has come up. So and that's why I was trying to tell you, you better go and get in now.
It's a wrap. This scholar's gonna come in here and shut down the whole show. Roger, we're going to the back room early.
I'm gonna just say he's a tough act to follow. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a tough act to follow.
This is like in the MCU. This is like in the MCU where like the in-betweener or eternity appears.
Nameless like the Bourne Identity when they say is that Jason Bourne?
All right, y'all. We got the one, the only, the nameless protagonist is here, and you have the mic, my brother.
To the chat and the instructors on the panel. So, let's begin the kata. First and foremost, Black Uru set the tone perfectly. he made it very clear that what you're engaging in has nothing to do with the socio-political idea historically of what we've come to understand marriage to be in a husband and wife context, a vector to the 1950s concept of the building block of what makes a community, which is family. So it becomes very challenging when that language is used to describe a very specific kind of contract, which is understood now as a triumvirate or a, what's the word I'm looking for in contract law? I don't think it's tripartite. That's the word I'm looking for. It is a tripartite contract between the designated woman, known generally as, and it depends on the circumstance, as the petitioner, and a respondent, which generally is going to be an assigned male, and the state. And the concept, I think, that really breaks this down can be understood as surrogate husbandry, where the state is the surrogate husband. Fundamentally, these terms were defined under a body of legislation that began in the 1970s that was called the Uniform Marriage and Divorce Act. And it's here that we get this tripartite contract where the state is the silent partner. And when it comes to the ultimate enforcement on who can provide punishments and benefits or rewards or awards, the state is the bottom line in the ability to apply jurisdiction, and it's the third party that ensures that takes place, regardless of what you do or not. The moment you make a petition, you then put yourself in the posture of respondent. And from that point going forward, what ends up occurring, it varies state by state, obviously, but you are subject to a matter of very strict, very uniform assessments of your assets, the way that IRS would go over your portfolio. And if your circumstance at the time, even if you've got what you could call schmuck insurance, AKA a prenup, even if you have that, if the circumstances have changed enough, depending on the state and the situation, that schmuck insurance can be overridden or adjusted. And a lot of it is contingent on the way that the judge feels at the time and the particular way family court handles things. I took a look at this 67-page document that has the Uniform Marriage Act, and I did a Alt F search, a Control F search for the terms husband and wife. They only came up twice. The first instance they came up, it was specifically addressing a circumstance of how you can apply the state intervention in situations that are called, quote, putative. I'll type it. Putative spouse. And the idea behind that is addressing cohabitation scenarios. So even if you aren't, quote, officially involved with the state as a marriage, if you hold concepts, if either party holds concept of, quote, husband or wife in their mind, the state will honor that if a certain amount of time has gone on, and it will honor that as a putative spouse scenario. And so when you get into the asset allocation, where we talk about this whole partnership concept, where the state is a silent partner, that's where you start running into these same issues. Some places call it common law. It doesn't matter if the state's involved or not. Someone is going to be designated as a respondent, and it's generally a male. And what you're talking about at that point is nothing more than an asset audit. This is all about your assets. The idea of marriage as we understood it died the moment this act became adopted by the majority of states. And at that point, what you're dealing with isn't so much a marriage at all. The only context that it can exist in is when God or your religious modality is serving as the silent partner, which gives even greater creed to the statement that Black Guru made. We're the only marriages that exist in the Anglosphere, and I would make the argument in the industrial first world period, are those micro-specific sociocultural instances that are asymmetrically disproportionately religious, and God is serving as the silent partner and not the state.
All right. In other words, marriage is dead, buried. Consider that mercy.
And not just in other words, by that doctrine, cohabitation puts you in a precarious spot depending on where you at in the country. So the
Mhm.
only thing, I mean, by that, by Nameless's logic and by Uru's in the original statement, the only thing men at large and specifically black men can do to do anything, put any offensive up, is attack the policy, like that policy you just mentioned. Like there is no strategical chess move way. I guess you could live in this particular spot where the laws are at that time decent and hopefully they don't change. Or you essentially going to be at the mercy of the state in its interpretation of what your burdens in Congress with the woman.
Let me
Well, I
put
got
this here so there can be a vector of moving forward with not just a nihilistic claim, because I don't think it can't work. I just think we don't understand the rules. We can't operate on this 1950s idea of if
Well,
you quote, do the right thing, it's going to be fine. If you approach this, you have to approach it the exact same way you would a high risk asset or a business venture. And if you understand that concept, it goes back to a statement that was said in the chat earlier. Either you understand it or you love it, but you can't do both.
but I think there's something missing here though. Because if we're talking about relationships, I mean, because the whole point of marriage, number one, for the state anyway, is the fruit of marriage. It's what comes out of that. It's the children. So when you remove that compelling interest, then I really don't see any point to getting married. But once that interest is there, that is the vector for the state to come in and do all of these things.
That's how you get the family court and the
Exactly.
child support courts and all the different legislation that was tied into that, actually. Because currently the problem is because this information is out there and less people are willing to engage in that contract. Now the child support courts, now those courts are becoming more predatory in the way they assign, we're going to say, individuals that are going to be held liable for paying. And again, it varies by state, but to the average person, part of the contract, part of the incentivization of even getting into a contract of marriage is children, as what your point is. And I think that was an argument that was had by some people before, where there was a disagreement on how important that was. And I think I don't know how. I think there's a way that the people are involved, but then there's an incentive for the state to encourage it. If people aren't having kids, they can't support their system, and I think that's the bottom line people have to keep in mind about. The state still has to get taxpayers, and it can only do that if people are having kids.
There's
I'm gonna jump in and say, hey, that's a state problem, and the state problem ain't your problem. Okay, you gotta do what's good for you, and only worry about the state when it makes sense for you to worry about the state. And I'm gonna say, y'all, you never know where these conversations are gonna go sometime. But for me, the whole thing is, as a man, we got to get our mentalities right in the first place, because I have to understand what a woman wants. And she's telling it to us, but she's just slickly telling us in different places. That's why you have to listen to language, and you have to accept the language counts. And if she says something, you need to get clarification on what she means. If you don't understand what she means, because they're telling us to be providers and they're telling us to be partners at the same time, which means they're already telling you, I need you to be my sucker. Because how can I be your partner and be your provider?
Well, I need to correct you on there something, Roger.
Go ahead.
Children are not a state problem. Children are a national problem. It's always
no. I definitely was not referring to children. I said I was referring to adults, because see, my thing is, before children come, I got to be comfortable enough that I even want to have kids with you.
Right.
But at this particular point, as men, we are being told that you need to be a provider and a partner at the same time. And a lot of people ain't picking up on this, which is why we sign up for bad deals in the first place, or we have this different expectation because we're not paying attention to what they're telling us. At the end of the day, women are very much. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know why you put much stock in anything they say though, because ultimately, let's say you believe anything they say at any point in time. When it comes down to you know when the thing falls through, if kids are made and or a marriage is made, let's say she told you everything you wanted to hear, and let's say it all appeared to align, her behavior for some period of time appeared to line up with that. That does not mean she can't step her happy ass off in the court somewhere and then take things in a very different direction. It happens all the time. It is happening right now. There are men right now in a divorce court who are shocked as fuck right now about what's going on.
You know what?
Are blown away by by the deal they made and the thing they did and the student loans they paid off and all that shit, and they cannot believe where they are right now, and they don't even recognize this woman who's on the other side of this courtroom.
And we're back
right
to
now as we're
law.
speaking.
We're back to Bristol's law. So if at any point she has the ability to renege on the investment, and then by virtue of her silent partnership with the state that is implied, she doesn't even have to do anything. It's essentially where the inertia takes her. Then you have to consider this is the whole reason why when this happens in a business venture, you get what's called schmuck insurance. I think Old P was talking about don't be a sucker. There is no schmuck insurance for marriage. And when they allowed for no-fault divorce to occur by way of using this legislation I was mentioning earlier with the Uniform Marriage and Divorce Act, this allowed for that point that Uru was making of being able to renege at any moment. The moment you do that, she becomes the petitioner and you become the respondent. And it is at that point nothing more than an audit, the same way the IRS would get at you for winning something in the lottery or just having a job.
Now, my thing is what I was attempting to do was go way before marriage would even be a part of the package. When you meet a woman and she's saying stuff, blah blah this, she wants a partner. And I'm gonna say it's best to listen to women who are not even talking to you directly, because you're gonna get a lot more real situations. Because as much as I know they be crazy, but women tell us a lot of stuff online, and they're not talking to you directly. Sometimes they're just sharing with other women. Sometimes they just complain about stuff. But my thing is, if we start picking up the pieces of what they're saying, they keep pushing. They need a partner, but they also keep pushing. They need a provider. And even if you're going to quote unquote be the provider, you're still supposed to be a partner. Now, these are not accidents. A woman is saying you need to be able to provide while she still maintains authority over you in the relationship. If we would start to pick up on these things, that tell you ain't supposed to be talking to that woman in the first place.
Roger.
And let me just say this real quick. Right. And if you're going to get to the point of marriage, and see, I'm very plain about this. Any woman who willing to marry me is going to come into the marriage with the understanding that when our marriage ends, one of us is dead. And people say, well, Roger, that's too far. No, it ain't. That's the purpose of marriage. If you're not trying to be in it till someone dies, then you're not the person for a marriage. Everybody ain't got to do that thing. But if you ain't gonna stick in it till somebody dead, this ain't the mountain you supposed to even try to start climbing. But
so I want to say this last point, and I'll go ahead and bounce.
Let me say real quick, and after you, I got to get usual business in here because he done came up.
Understood. So there's a term in poker. It goes something like, if you've been playing for 30 minutes and you don't know or you haven't identified who the schmuck is at the table, it's probably you.
You're the schmuck.
So what I'm going to say is you've seen this in pyramid schemes where when they're getting you to invest in this product, they like using this term that you are going to be a collaborative partner. And all I'm going to say is these two concepts rhyme so well, you should really take to heart that whole entire scenario. Please look up the idea of schmuck insurance in business when you get time. Roger, thanks for having me up, man. And I'll be listening in the background, man. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
And I appreciate your names. And I'm gonna address one thing. I'm gonna read the super chat, and then I'm gonna let usual business get in. Well, let me do the super chat first. Shout out to Gregory Scotland. Appreciate you, my brother. He says, "Thank you, Governor Reagan, and you're signing in no fault divorce. Wow, you did me in such a great thing. Well, you know what? They gonna find a way, y'all. You know the system has its goals. As a man, you're supposed to have your goals, but understand if the system ain't with you, they're trying to figure out a way to get you. And Ronald Reagan just helped it get, well, Governor Reagan at the time, I guess, helped it be a little bit easier for them to get you. Now I'm gonna say shout out to, I guess this is G Pitt, or no, probably GI Pitt. He says, oh, hold on. That wasn't what I wanted to hit. That wasn't the one I wanted to hit. My bad. Here it is. G.I. Pitt said, "No, Roger, the purpose of marriage is to combine resources." Now, I'm going to say, G.I. Pitt, you're absolutely wrong. And this is why men have run into a tough situation. The purpose of marriage is to establish a relationship with a person until one of you dies. If you allow it to be anything other than that, you are signing off on bad things for you. Now, you can't say it's for something else, and then bad things happen that you endorse and then say it's a problem. No. Now, I can't tell you where you got your ideal of marriage from. Yeah, I ain't gonna argue with you where you got your ideal of marriage from. But I'm gonna tell you 100%.
He probably got his idea of marriage from your more successful families, because that's exactly the purpose of marriage traditionally, especially amongst your higher status
class,
people. It's about the combining and exchanging of resources and status and property, and influence. Yeah. So, I mean, it's what he says it is, Roger. I'm not saying it's not what you're saying. I'm saying historically, traditionally, that has been the purpose of marriage.
And all I'm saying is that has been a part of it. But the from what I know, marriage comes for two people putting their lives together. Now, what you accomplish as assets and things like that while you're living is just part of your lives being together. When I go into the marriage, we're both alive. When I come out, one of us dead. And if men don't accept that,
I mean, that usually happens. But the reason, part of the reason why, Roger, most marriages fail in part is because you appear to view it to be a combining of you and this woman. But that is not why marriages historically were done and why they were maintained. They were done and maintained to combine families. And it was the power of the family and the family holding both parties to that marriage accountable that sustained that marriage. That's why people died in marriages. People didn't die in marriages just because of what some man and woman decided. They died in marriages because of what their parents and their uncles and their grandparents and all those people decided. That's why people stayed in and died in marriages.
I'm not saying that ain't part of it, because the whole thing was to combine the lives. Your situation didn't change what it was back in the day. You stayed in the marriage to somebody that anyway. So you win the lottery, you still stand in the marriage. You lose your job, you still stand in the marriage. You know, you unfortunately have a miscarriage, you still stand in the marriage. And everybody supported that thing. The thing is, it's your life. The things that you accomplish over life are going to be included because they're part of your life. And I'm going to say, shout out to G.I. Pitt as well. He said, "No, Roger, that's what you want it to be." No, that's what it was. It's always been that way until we accepted it was something else. And that's why, and I don't have no problem saying, every woman I've talked to about marriage, we're going to be in this until one of us is dead. The only thing I can guarantee you about my marriage is one of us will be dead when it's over. That's going to happen. And if you accept anything less as a man, I can't tell you what to do because you're a man. But when you accept less and then you get less, how you tripping?
Well, let me say this,
Somebody
Roger.
died in mine.
let me try to bridge both, because I think both of y'all. I mean, I get where both of y'all coming. I think I'll say it this way: the institution of marriage is ancient. The institution of marriage is really about human resources. It's about managing, and like Uru alluded to, families who obviously have their own resources, combining and multiplying those resources or perpetuating those resources. But mainly the institution of marriage is about perpetuation of the human resource, which without that, the physical and material resource is irrelevant. The human resources and
compassionate.
Mhm.
My marriage, the whole prospects and the notion of my marriage did not get serious until I started dealing with my wife's mother and uncle and male cousins. That's when it got serious. That's when the whole notion of getting married and whatever got serious. Before that, it wasn't really serious to me until other people that was important to both of us started to interact with what's going on. That's when it really got serious.
To add to that, though, what cemented that seriousness, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the children you and your wife
I was about to go there.
that formalized.
Well, yeah, certainly afterwards, but that came afterwards. Well, yeah, and then that just really kind of magnified everything.
Well,
that magnified everything, because then the involvement of our mothers and it just I agree.
So that's my point. The children because outside of you getting with a woman and then being cool with her brother and her mother, those are just associations outside of the blood tie that y'all having children together create. So ultimately, the marriage, the institution of marriage, was to perpetuate the human family or the human species or that tribe or children into the next generation. Not because of economic resources, not because of anything material necessarily. Those things are contingent necessarily on those.
I mean, I think, but I think that's a false dichotomy or false disparity, because I don't think you can exclude the issue of status and resources from that combining of those individuals and making of that family. Because without that second part, that individual marriage itself, the reason why American marriages are not sustainable, because they don't have that other part of it. They become just this choice between this capricious choice between some random dude and some girl for God knows reasons, and you don't have the realness of the family compelling that thing to stay together. That's one of the biggest reasons why you don't have any real American marriages.
Okay, real quick, guys, real quick, and I'm gonna let you get in this anime, but y'all, I got to. 79 Kalia is here, so I gotta let usual business get in. Okay, he's supposed to get in. He ain't have a chance, so usual business. I'm gonna let you get in, and then Dead said I'm gonna let you follow usual business. Y'all hear that? I'm gonna let Dead said follow usual business, and then we can go from there. Usual business, you got the flow, my brother.
How you doing, to Roger and to the panel? I'm gonna try to keep it kind of brief. I always just go back to what I think Roger told me. At the end of the day, I gotta pay for it. I always just go to at the end of the day, and I'm gonna pay for what I want, and I'm gonna pay for what I like if I'm gonna have to pay for it, right? So when it comes to the requirement, I guess when you talk about we're dealing with women, if she's not the woman with the qualities that I want, I'm just not gonna pay for it, and that's just kind of up to her, and she wants to, get in how she live. Simple as that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Dead set.
Yes, I was going to bridge what Compassionate and Uru was saying, because that was the argument that they were making was largely environmental. Given that in the two classes, if you're talking about wealthier people, yes, status and influence are going to be probably top priority when it comes to those marriages, because those marriages don't always produce children, but they can often produce an explosion of assets because two businesses or two families join together. Now, when it came to poorer people, especially when, prior to the Industrial Revolution, the greatest fruitage of a marriage were the children themselves. So, and again, that also brings us back to, on a lesser scale, influence, because you're concerned about who you're marrying within your peer group wherever you live at locally, and the children that they produce and the labor that they produce, and then the children that they're going to produce themselves. So it sounds to me that like they're both saying the same thing, but the environmental aspect of it all just didn't come into play.
All right. What? Real quick, y'all. Real quick. Shout out to GI Pitt. He did put a super chat, so I got to read it. But he said, "Hey Roger, drop the link." And as Trev Bentley pointed out, which I tried to highlight, so I don't know if you saw it or not, but the link is highlighted at the top of the chat, bro. All you gotta do is hit the link if you want to join the conversation. It's cool. We get you up here. Ain't no big deal. Come on. Okay. And shout out to Gold P. He said, just don't do the ish. Just don't do the ish, goddamn it. Just don't do it. There, I said it. Now, of course, that's always an easy option as well, to just never actually get married to any particular person. That's always an option that any man can take. Now, I'm gonna say, because y'all did kind of jump into the marriage fast. My thing is, if you start to truly identify what the women are asking for, the marriage part ain't gonna come up for most of them, because most of them are saying you have to be a partner and you have to be a provider. And those are just two things that don't gel together. If I'm your provider, I am your leader. And this is something that a lot of black men, we don't accept. I've been saying since I've started social media, as a man, you're supposed to be a leader, protector, and provider. And you protect and provide for those you lead. I'm not looking to be anybody's partner. Now, you live in America, and shout out to all my people who live somewhere else in the world. But if you live in America, I ain't trying to force you under my leadership. If you want to do this, you can. If you don't want to do it, you ain't got to. So it ain't bothering me either way. But that's the only way you get to mess with me as a woman. I'm going to be the leader, so there will be some level of provision I have to give to you, and I accept that. But at the end of the day, what I'm not going to be is your partner, because I have no interest in being a woman's partner for anything from a social level. Now, we can make some money together. That's different. You know what I'm saying? We can do some business together, but anything social, I ain't got no interest in being no woman's partner. So most women will never appeal to me in general, because most of them ain't looking to do that. So how you gonna marry me and you want a partner? We ain't gonna never get that far. And that's just real talk. But I am gonna say this: at the end of the day, if we as men take anything less than death to get out of marriage, then you do have to ask yourself why we tripping. If anything less than death is cool, then what message are we giving? Now, I ain't saying that's what you got to do, because everybody grown, you can do what you want, per se. But I ain't taking nothing less than death. If you ain't gonna do this for life, I don't want it. You don't fit my criteria. You doing it for life, or we ain't doing it at all. That's simple to me. Now I'm gonna let this gentleman on the stage. I'm gonna let him get the mic next. All right. He's got his name is Gary Pittman. So Gary, welcome to the show, my brother. Welcome to the show. You got 2 minutes for an opening statement. Well, you know what? Let me ask you real quick. Is this your first time listening to the show?
No.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. Well, go ahead. I'm gonna read the rules after his 2-minute opening statement, because I thought I seen you in the chat before, but a lot of names sometimes look alike. I don't know. But go ahead, my brother. But I am going to read the rule, because I'm going to do that on a regular basis. So go ahead, my brother.
Okay. Raj, I think that what you think that marriage was is not what marriage is. And I have to take what you say seriously, because I'm not in America. I live in the Dominican Republic, so life don't even work the same over here like it did over there. But I am an American, so I know how it works. Conversely, Raj, what you want don't exist. You want a 1962 lifestyle in 2026. That's not going to happen. A couple of reasons that's not going to happen, but the total definition of marriage changed in 1971, Raj, with the spread of the birth control pill. What is the most productive fruits of a marriage? You said it would be offspring. Well, if a woman has options and one of her options is not to be tied down with a child, that totally destroys the whole concept of why people get married in America.
I like this, brother.
You know what? I'm gonna say, no. The thing is, this ain't my idea. Other people have accepted different things over time. My thing is, I accepted the way it was made, and when it was made, it was death do you part. I'm not taking less because other people decided to take less.
Well, Raj, when the institution of marriage was created, poor people couldn't get married, and if it was till death do you part, Henry VIII just blew that out. Marriage was to establish resources.
No, you know what? I can
That's a different
appreciate that.
person, bro, in a
I
different
can
kingdom at a different time. Just want
No,
to let you know that.
but I can appreciate what he's saying because he's saying based on what he understands about where marriage came from, then that was the establishment. My ideal of what marriage come from didn't come with that, and it came from the beginning. Death do you part. That's what what I know from where marriage started from, and I'm not gonna say yours is right and mine is wrong or mine is wrong, yours is right. You have your idea, and my thing is that's totally fine. Me, I'm accepting death do you part. And if anybody don't want to do death do you part, they playing games, and I'm not going to play with them, and I don't have to play with them. I'm not required to play with them, and I don't
But
choose to
Raj,
play with them. It's that
but
simple to
Raj,
me.
but Raj, on a realistic vibe now, you're just going realistic, okay? You say till death do you part. How come a mofo just can't change his mind? I know that my grandfather changed his mind at 60 and divorced my grandmother. Why? Because he wanted to marry a 40-year-old teacher.
I didn't say anybody couldn't change their
All
mind.
right, then.
I didn't say anybody. I said I'm going to accept death do you part. That's what I said. No, brother. I didn't say somebody couldn't change their mind. I said I'm accepting what it was from Jump Street, and I'm not changing just because other people want to change. And I'm not accepting less than what I'm supposed to get. And I'm supposed to get your life. And if I can't have it, I don't need part of some woman's life. I don't need a piece of her life. It don't really do nothing for me.
Can I say a few words then real quick?
Yeah. Well, let me just say, and you got it next. I'm gonna say, look, I totally understand because again, y'all, I know divorced people. Even my own father got divorced. There are people who've been in marriages for 5 years, 10 years, 15, whatever number you want to throw out there. There's a lot of folks who've been in marriage for a good while, and then some folks got divorced and they was married so long it shocked a lot of people. Some folks was married 25 years, then they end up in a divorce and they shocked their friends and family. I ain't saying you can't have a piece of a woman's life. I am not saying you can't pay the tax they're going to give you for having a piece of a woman's life. I ain't got no interest in paying that tax. That's simple to me. It's the whole life or no life. Go ahead, brother.
No, that was it for me, Raj.
Okay. Well, I was basically going to ask you: do you know the concept of a blood debt or a blood contract?
Enlighten us.
Say, broke. It was I think it says Gary. I would say, do you understand that?
No.
That concept.
No.
So a blood contract or a blood debt or something like that.
I know what a blood debt is. If you save somebody's life, that you owe a life for a life.
Well, so it's basically something like that. It's basically similar, right? So let's say we go to a blood contract, like it was very, very well known. Let's say in China, a lot of other countries, right? Let's say we would form like a pact of brotherhood or whatever, right? That everybody either sit down at the cup or whatever you factor out there. Usually, sometimes they either put their own blood in and drink it. Depends on where they're from, whatever, right? And that whatever they said necessarily, they were gonna have each other back necessarily until either one of them died, right?
Right.
So in that quote unquote scenario, right, you already had made your claim that we in this together until one of us go out, right? So even as that was the claim that we originally made, if somebody quote unquote tried to change it, you see what I'm saying? That makes sense, or
yeah, I mean, but then you do understand, brother, that was like before lawyers, right? Okay, all right.
I do understand what you're saying, but it is the concept, right? It was like this. Once you do certain things, right, you understand what come from. Like if I say I make a blood debt with somebody, I understand that it's gonna
Yes,
be to
yes,
somebody else
yes,
is not here.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say, look, I came up with a great, and I'm gonna put it back up because I had it on the previous channel. I'm gonna put it back up, a great outline for how you should handle a divorce if you happen to do that. That's just not what I'm doing, but if you want to go that route, I came up with a great idea that you should take to a lawyer to make it very easy, and the state shouldn't really be able to complain about it too much. But that's just not the route I personally choose to take. And I'm not saying what any man has to do because I do respect men. Y'all can take whatever deal you want to take. All I'm saying is, if you take a deal that's less than death as a requirement, understand that's the deal you took. There will be no woman I ever marry. She's gonna have a misunderstanding about how this marriage is gonna end. Because and just like I said earlier about how dating is not necessarily a relationship, you need to make sure when you deal with a woman, she understands what the terms are. They should be perfectly defined. So I won't deal with a woman without perfectly defined terms. She will know if we get married, one of us gotta die for this to end. Now, if she cool with that, she cool with it. If she
Brother
ain't cool with
Raj,
that, she not cool with it.
Brother Raj. Can I ask you, brother, are you married now?
No, I'm not married now.
Okay.
Well,
Like I just told you earlier, most women ain't ready for what I'm dealing with. I told you that, brother, because I've literally told that to women. You want to get married, that's fine. But are you willing to put your life on the line for it? Because if we get married, one of us has to die to get out. She said that's too much. I said, I
That's
don't
one of
know
his
what to tell you.
non-negotiables.
I don't know what to
They're
tell you.
like,
I mean, but
yeah, that's one of his non-negotiables. Like I told the one chick, I was like, "Hey, girl, but if we ever get married, every time you get pregnant with her, I always have my kids checked, right?" And she said, well, you wouldn't trust me? You wouldn't trust me?" I said, "I don't give a damn. That's just going to set up what I'm going to do personally, right?" She
but
already knew from the jump that quote unquote, if we was to ever have a black relationship, them kids gonna be tested anyway. So she ain't got no. It's she know this from the get go. Right?
I mean, unless you are marrying someone, as I said earlier, very religious, devoutly religious, insular society, no outside interference, maybe even no social media and internet access. Unless you marrying a woman under that circumstances,
That ain't
I
gonna
don't know
happen,
why
man.
you would marry some woman under. Well, I'm presenting a scenario. I'm not referring to the likelihood of anything. I'm not referring to the likelihood of anything. I'm citing the only scenario in which this whole death do you part thing really works. Otherwise, to marry a woman and say to death do you part outside of that scenario, you are basically that's a form of suicide.
Can I
Because
ask
at
that,
some
please?
point, you gonna do something or she gonna do something and somebody gotta die. In
Can I ask?
America,
Go ahead.
I
that's
think
what
that
you're
was kind of
signing off
also
on.
part of the answer though. Like I mean, he did say until one of us go though, bro. So I mean, I think that was calculated in the
Right.
answer.
And that's well and good. So then you have to ask the question, why would you ever get married then? Period. Why would you ever get married in America?
Now, I gotta say real quick, shout out to Chef Mike. He said the Roger Report, you are comparing a religious sacrament to a civil contract. They are not the same. No, I'm not comparing. Y'all are trying to make me compare something that I'm not gonna compare. I'm saying what it is. Y'all tell me what it might be, what it should be, maybe what y'all think I should. No, I'm telling you,
No, what
there's only marriage.
what
There's
we're
only one
what
form of
we're
marriage
really
I'm accepting.
saying,
That's it.
what we're really saying, Roger, is it makes no sense for you to ever get married in America. That's what we're saying.
I'm
Based
not.
on your guidelines,
You're gonna have to kill her.
it
You're
makes
gonna have to
That do
kill her,
make
bro.
sense
zero
though.
sense for you to get married because because the woman that has been bred the last 4+ generations, one of y'all gonna end up dead, and it won't
Oh,
be
we know
due
that.
natural causes.
I'm not gonna say you wrong. I'm saying the
Hey, Raj,
standard
can I
is
add
the
to that, please?
standard, and that's just it.
Hey, Raj,
But
can
We
I
changed
add
our
to that
view
as
on the
well?
contract, and that's the problem,
look,
really.
I mean, I think
Hey,
we're going
Raj,
far afield here because we
No,
lost the original premise.
no. I mean, the original premise got way off because y'all
Exactly.
kind of jumped into the marriage part so fast. But I mean, it's cool. I'm not tripping. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because I was really dealing with a mentality
I
that
I
always
jumped into the marriage part. I jumped in the marriage part fast because of this notion that you were making this argument that any kind of deal a woman would present would be something that would be upheld. Whatever a woman says about whether or not she wants a provider or whether or not she wants a partner, she gonna go for what ultimately over time she gonna go for whatever works for her. If it works for her for you to be the provider, you gonna be the provider, nigga. If it works for you to be the partner and very likely the junior partner, and her be the manager partner or the principal partner, nigga, you gonna be the junior partner and she gonna be the principal partner or the managing partner.
I like
So
to
I
add
mean,
to
this
that.
thing where you gonna sit down and have a conversation with a woman, and it's gonna be something that you're gonna be able to rely on 10 years later. That's folly.
And
what
also, Raj,
go
Raj,
ahead.
I told you I do not live in America, right?
No, that's fine. But you
Oh, okay,
understand.
okay,
So.
but Raj, I want to use that to give some validity to what my man said. I live in an extremely religious place. It's a freaking Bible on the country's flag here, okay? And guess what? Women don't divorce you, they just leave your ass, okay? It's nowhere that in modern times, because what you want haven't been going on since at least the 1930s. It's nowhere in modern times that any woman would accept that deal.
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, if your whole life is based on what a woman gonna do, it's hard to get to any good
Isn't
place.
that who you
I
want to
mean,
marry
basically, bro.
you, fam?
No, bro. I'm going to marry someone who agrees with me. If none agree, I don't need her anyway. I don't need somebody who don't agree.
Roger, listen to. Do you think most men marry women who are disagreeing with them? Most of the guys who are in divorce court right now got with a woman who said everything he wanted to hear.
And
Most of those dudes did.
Yeah.
When they first got together, she was busting it wide open. She was cooking dinner, all that shit. She was keeping the house clean, all that shit. She did all that shit. She made all those promises. Most of the brothers went in with that kind of deal. They didn't end up with that kind of deal, but they went in with that kind of deal.
Hey,
you hurt my feelings.
So this notion where you gonna sit down, with a woman, and she gonna, say what you want to hear and all this stuff, and that's gonna hold up over time. I mean, you might want to spend some time in some divorce courts.
I am going to be Uru's interpreter today. I think that'll be a good role for me. And he said, "You young niggas don't know what you're talking about." That's what he said. He said it really eloquently. That's what he said.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Real talk. Usually, when I sit down and explain what a woman is asking me for, because I've had women talk to me about marriage, and I tell her, this is what you're asking me about. A lot of them start to relax real quick, and they start to say, "Well, you know what? That's a little bit more than what I'm trying to do. This the only offer you're gonna get from me, though. If you want this thing, this is how it's gonna be." And I'm making it very plain to you what you're asking for and what I'm going to accept. Now, as a man, I accept what I choose to accept. Now, all I'm gonna say is this, y'all, because I've said before, my own father got divorced, y'all. I saw a man who was not rich have to buy a second house. That stuck with me. It may not mean nothing to you, but it stuck with me. I saw a man who's not rich, but have to buy a second house. Now, if you rich, yeah, you
when
can buy
your
2 3.
father
Yeah.
when your father got with your mama, do you think that he thought he was gonna be dealing with that shit 15 years later or whatever?
I'm pretty sure he didn't, but that's why I
Do
make
you
stuff
think in the
explicit.
beginning your mama told and did for your father what he wanted to hear and what he wanted to see her do in the beginning?
Well, I mean, clearly it was enough. It was enough. Clearly, can't argue that.
I mean, the way you talk, if I listen to you, I got to figure, just by observing you, your father was a pretty smart and forthright man back then. That's what I'm interpreting based on what I've heard from you. So if that's true, and a man like that could still end up divorced, I don't know what 30 some odd years ago, when things weren't even nearly as bad as they are now. I mean, they weren't nearly as bad as they are now. Exactly. If that dude could get messed over, what kind of deal you think you gonna make today, player?
I mean, that's gonna hold up. I think we're looking at this a little differently. I think we should look at this from the premise of I'm setting for what I'm going to accept from my wife or whoever I'm going to be with her. And if she doesn't quote unquote meet that standard, she just doesn't come, right? Because like I said, I was dealing with a Ugandan chick, right? I met it was one that was a little lower class, one was a little higher class. When I told her the let's say higher class lady of Uganda that this is my requirements, she said, okay, cool. And then she also put down her list of requirements also. Right. So when you got I would say quote unquote like minds or people that's going to agree with you that's going to be on your program, it's a little different, right? That means because we were quote unquote equally yoked, as you would say, right? We came from the same class level, even though it was a different country. So that's how I'm looking at it, but maybe y'all looking at it differently. But if she doesn't agree with
how long y'all been married? How long y'all been married?
We didn't get married though, because it was something we couldn't argue down though. Because I was like, she was like, you can't fuck nobody else other than me. And I looked at, I smiled and laughed. I was like, girl, don't even push that. So
right.
All right, let me get the super chat and cash app in. Shout out to Gold P. He said that brother Uru, you know the black one, is throwing chairs at Roger and serving them strikes. Roger out here talking like a whole sucker out here. All right, no, not at all.
I mean, GP, I'm trying to help him, GP. I'm trying to help.
Well,
I'm scared for him, though. I'm real scared for him.
Real quick. Shout out to Shaka Nulu.
Des have been trying to get in there for a minute. Des have been trying to get in there.
Yeah, but let me just say, shout out to Shaka Nulu because he dropped $10 on the super on the cash app. So shout out to Shaka Noodle for that. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, go ahead, Dan. Say.
This is what I get what Uru's saying, because like I'm twice divorced, and a lot of people know my situation. There is no legal contract, because the problem is environmental. There is no legal contract that you can create that can reinforce the kind of strictures that people, especially men, are looking for in marriage. It just doesn't happen in
It
this
just
environment.
don't work that way.
It does not exist. It is a literal and figurative impossibility because the law does not support that type of thing.
The two things that a man would be most concerned about in a marriage are wholly unprotectable legally in an American prenup. That is sexual access and children, and control over children. Because neither one of those are protectable in a prenup. Right. So the thing that you would be most concerned about and most vulnerable to, you can't even get protection of that in an American marriage.
Yep.
Not by legally in any way.
Well, then maybe marriage here is not the quote unquote the goal. Then
that's the point.
Let me ask you all this. Seems like y'all forgot that you're not dealing with wives, you're dealing with hoes. Y'all forgot that.
Amen. Amen.
But you should only be dealing with wives though. I know if you're dealing in America, but I'm saying, but you should only be dealing with wives if you're going to deal with.
In America, you only have hoes. In America, you only have hoes.
Well,
I mean, because here's the thing. No. In a society that makes wives, there are rules set up. There are patriarchal rules set up to protect the man and give the man dominion over his household, over that woman, and over his children. You see that in the Islamic countries, for example. In an Islamic country,
Roger.
In an Islamic country, you can have wives. Let me finish, brother. In an Islamic country, you can have wives and husbands because you have specific laws and they're backed by the religion and the community and whatever that enforce the role of husband and wife within that community and within that society. There is nothing that enforced in American society that enforces the role of husband and wife. Nowhere in American society.
Thank you, Black Guru.
All right. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Chef Mike. He said, "Would Roger's ideas of marriage lead to a decline in our numbers in today's climate?" This is a legit question, and I'm gonna say, brother, I think more than likely because of the climate in the beginning, yeah, you will have a decline, but then you will actually have a rise because this is about what men are accepting. We accept that we accept that women can leave us and there's no real consequence.
Okay.
And I'm not downing nobody for saying that. I'm just saying what the facts are. Okay. Because my father divorced too. You know what I'm saying? He lived in this society, whatever. He didn't kill my mama. You know what I'm saying? That's on him at the end of the day. Now, if he did, I'd understand. You know, it is what it is. She shouldn't have lied. She the one said she said out of her own mouth, you know, that she agreed to that do you part. So I mean, you lied to some people. It don't work out.
If your father kills your mother, what happened to you and your 2 or 3 siblings?
I mean, we got a big family. We'd have made it all right. You know what I'm saying?
We would have survived.
That's a good.
Yeah,
we would have survived.
We'd have made it. You know, I don't doubt that at all. We'd have made it. I do believe that. You know, but you know, to me, there's a lot of advantages in having big families. So you know, I'd probably been with some uncle or auntie. You know what I'm saying, at their crib. You know, so that, and I'm saying that I probably wouldn't have ended up at either side of my grandparents. I probably wouldn't. I probably would have more than likely ended up at an auntie or uncle's home. That's what I'm thinking. You know, could be wrong, but we'd have been all right. Now I'm gonna just say, look, we see things going in a certain direction. We see what men have accepted, and we see where it got us. At the end of the day, having a woman partially does not seem to work out for men. I don't want a partial contract. I want the whole thing, your whole life or no life. Just easy for me.
Raj, I have to go back to what Black Uru said. What you want is not possible. Is not happening in the Western Hemisphere. That's just that. And what you propose is a great way for people not to get married. People will still be screwing. People will still be having babies, but ain't nobody getting married.
Okay. Let's think about this. Is that better or worse for Black men?
I'm sorry?
Would that technically be better or worse for Black men? Based on how you see society, would that be better or worse for Black men if they just didn't get married at all?
Also,
Black men or all men?
No. I'm concerned about Black men first.
Okay.
So if you say what I'm talking about because of the climate,
yeah.
Okay. Now brothers just stop getting married altogether. Is that gonna be better for them or not?
It's better.
It'll be better.
Overall. Then I don't see the problem.
Well, I'm suspicious of the integrity of any community where nobody's getting married.
I mean,
I'm suspicious of the long-term integrity of that. Because show me where in history. Show me where in recent history you had a productive society where none of the people are married.
Well, Black Uru,
show me that community.
Can't say that because every day in our culture is changing. I mean, we can't go back to the 1600s.
No, I don't address my show me that community. And if you are not aware of any such community, simply admit that you're not aware of any such community.
I am not aware.
See,
I think we start from the false premise. We start from the false premise because at the end of the day,
it's not a false premise. Look, the only way when you talk about, when you ask the question about what is possible to happen, you have to look at some comparables of the current or the current society or the past. That's the only thing you have to go on as human beings. Anything other than that is speculation. Anything other than that is speculation. It may be good speculation. It may be bad speculation. But if it has not happened before, we cannot predict what will happen in the future.
Yeah.
So the only thing we can do is say, what's going on now? What has gone on in the past? And how did that turn out?
Well, okay.
That's why we study history.
My question is this, though.
But hold on, before you ask that question, shout out to Q Control. He says, right, won't nobody do any real business with black people. Well, Q Control, guess what? Everybody else follows us, so they won't be doing business with themselves eventually. Because everybody follow us.
Everybody follows us.
So, I mean, think about that. But go ahead, ask your question. Well, no, hold before you ask your question. Shout out to No Placeholder. Appreciate you big time, brother. He says, having the everyday man married is good for all. And that's cool as long as it's working for us. Because I ain't,
exactly.
If it ain't working for me, what's the point? But go ahead, Dad said.
Okay, on that whole premise that men are better off married, we have to look at what marriage was like in this era that people are talking about, because there was a lot of outside fucking going on. In fact, it wasn't much different from what was going on now.
Thank you.
So we're not really looking at a big difference from what was going on now, what is going on now versus what was going on back in the 1920s or the 1800s.
Right.
The difference is it was just a piece of paper. People are going to couple because that's what we do naturally. People are going to screw. Women and men are going to look for other opportunities to screw. That always happens. That's the overriding nature of human beings. So once we start throwing abstractions in there like marriage and then saying that this is not going to work and that's going to work, that's not been our history. What's been our history is what's going on now.
Life in history is about odds and percentages. It's not about absolutes. Yes, certain percentages of people cheated. Some percentage of people did not cheat. Some percentages of people had outside children. Large percentages of people did not have outside children. But here's the thing: what marriage does. What marriage does is say, yes, I like to fuck around, but I do have a primary responsibility to this household. I do have a primary responsibility to this woman. I do have a primary responsibility to the children that I made with this particular woman in this particular community. So yeah, I might be tricking off some money on some hoes on the weekend. I might have a baby mama on the other side of town. My primary responsibility is here. And because my primary responsibility is here, this is going to be a relatively productive and stable environment here. It's not an absolute. It's odds and percentages. And the higher degree to which you have men who make that commitment, even though they fucking hoes every on Friday on payday, yeah, okay, we know that's happening. Even though that's happening, because the majority of men do have some wife and do have some children and some community they're responsible for, that creates stability. We can have some productive schools. We can have some productive businesses and churches and stuff like this in communities.
Well,
that's the importance of marriage. It's not an absolute perfect scenario. It's odds and percentages.
Well, we got a new guest that came in, so I'm gonna let him get the mic. But I'm gonna just say, maybe society can't have those things, because if you can't give the men what they want, but you need the men to give you those things, then you don't get those things. Sounds reasonable to me. Now, but let me get the floor real quick to Bastards are real. you got the mic, my brother. Bastards are real. Chime on in.
Salute to you, brother Roger. Shout out to the panel. Peace and shea butter to y'all niggas. So first of all, why black men should be a woman's partner or should be married? Because bastardom. When you have a society full of bastards, which you have right now in the community, it's disruptive. No sense of morals, no sense of values, and it's just
Hold on, because I didn't
No,
marry.
no.
This
This
is
is
opening
2 minute
statement.
statement.
This is opening statement. We gotta let them have it. This is opening statement. Go ahead.
See, there it is right there, bastard behavior right there. See, and you see, and so see, this is the situation, no order and things of that nature. And when we look at the black community, look how many niggas don't know their fathers, don't have their fathers, and we have a household and generations full of bastards. And this is why you. This is one of the reasons why marriage is important, right? Because you can't have a society full of bastards. And I'll pass the mic on.
Okay, can I say something, please?
Well, let me say this real quick, and then you got it. Shout out to Chef Mike. He said Roger has this viewpoint because he does not have a wife or children. To say it sounds bad, but Roger's proposing a selfish path. No one has responsibility. No, I'm not doing that. That's what y'all saying. What I'm saying is, if something ain't working, sometimes you got to fix it. So I think a fix for something that's clearly not working, men gonna have to start requiring lives again. We start requiring lives, a lot of stuff starts to change, and society works out just fine. Because I'm a very pro-marriage person. Anyone who's listened to me for any amount of time know I am extremely pro-marriage person. But just because I'm a pro-marriage person don't mean any marriage is gonna work. The ones we got right now ain't doing good enough of a job. I'm just keeping it real. We have men who are who are accepting less than death to get out the marriage, and it's just not working.
Hey,
Just
Roger.
is what it is.
But this
Hey,
just
Roger.
goes to my point. One second. This goes to my point. A lot of men, when you get married, you're going to get married to a woman who was born outside of wedlock. The majority of women, especially if you're trying to get married to women in America, she's a bastard.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I'm about to destroy that whole argument right there, sir, because my father was married. He was not married to my mother. My father was married to some other church woman. Okay, so you got married men that'll go out and make babies. So what the fuck is you talking about?
Well,
sure.
I'll answer it.
What I'm talking about is requiring a life for a marriage. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know how you don't understand that. And what you just said,
know my father.
What you
know
just
what I'm
said ain't
saying?
got
He
nothing
came over
to do.
every other day.
No, bro. What you just said ain't got nothing to do with what I said. And I
No,
believe
I
you're
wasn't talking
intelligent
to
enough
you,
to know
Roger.
that.
Roger, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Bastard.
Okay.
Right. So what I'm talking about is 60% of children are born black children. 68%, even probably higher now, of children are born outside of wedlock. I'm talking about people who come from a single parent home are 4 to 5 times more likely to get a divorce when they get married. I'm talking about women. I'm talking about women who only 1/4 of black women will get married. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your situation. I'm talking about the community as a whole. And the fact that you're going to bring up your own situation kind of shows me that you're narcissistic.
All right, so now let me counter you with this, right? And I'm gonna try to use some numbers, and I'll use my life as an example. Okay.
That's narcissism, sir. That's
My
narcissism.
life.
That's
Okay.
narcissism.
My father, he made a pretty good lifestyle. He was one of the first black police sergeants in Philadelphia. All right. He was married to somebody that he went to school with. Okay. My mother worked there. All right. So right then and there are two people with two different objectives. Okay. This man come from the church.
But I don't understand how I don't understand how you're talking about your own family when I'm talking about
The group.
the community as a group. That's narcissism, sir.
Look, the Bible is littered with great and noble men who were tempted by the flesh of other women.
Exactly.
That's something that all men with various degrees face, and some of us fall to, and some of us don't. Whether or what your father did is not indicative of what most or all men do, and the circumstances of all men.
Exactly.
And I
My
do have to
grandfather.
say, I do believe, because there was a lot more people who believe the way I believe, that a marriage is something you do for a lifetime. I do believe that's why you
Exactly.
had the concept of shotgun weddings. No, bro,
Exactly.
you broke it, you bought it.
I like
You done snuck off into the barn. You done had sex with my daughter. Sometimes she ended up pregnant. That's how they find out that the sex was going on. So guess what you finna do, player? You can marry her, or you can die. Which one you want?
I like to interject, and I'm gonna blame somebody. I don't know who I'm gonna blame yet, but y'all got me agreeing with our Ivy League brother here. Y'all know I hate that. This brother's pointed out a very good fact that most black men are marrying women that come from broken homes, and
Exactly.
this is leading to more broken homes.
Mhm.
This is why only 25% of of black women are married or getting married or will get married. Just what Roger is saying is that they will not commit. They will not commit to marriage. Men are wanting to get married, and the reason why there's such a low percentage of black men getting married is because they're doing what Roger did early in his life. They're waiting on black women to commit.
Women.
They will not do it. It's a wrap for the FBA community. It's over.
And I want to say something to agree with my nemesis, just to piss him off a little bit extra. So, like he said, right? You're coming from broken homes. And gentlemen, just think about this for 1 second. Gentlemen, think about this for 1 second. The woman, the woman that you're giving to your kids is a bastard. Just think about that for a second. The woman
That's why.
that you're giving to your kids to say, kids, this is going to be your mother, is a bastard.
That's why I said we were starting from a false premise. Certain women shouldn't even be chosen for marriage. That was a false premise. If you're a woman and this is your qualities and characteristics, you shouldn't even be chosen for marriage. At the end of the day, if you a hoe, you gotta stay on the hoe side, right? But the problem is you have people, as you keep saying, trying to turn hoes into housewives. And I'm pretty sure as soon as you fell from your mama's womb, there's like a pamphlet they give you, see what I'm saying? And they say, hey, you can't turn hoes into housewives. And for some reason, black men look at that pamphlet and say, damn, shit, I can do it.
Hold my beer, nigga. Hold my beer. That's what they said. Watch me try.
Shit, watch me do it, bro. And I mean, like, it's like the fifth or fourth generation of us really trying to quote unquote do that. But when you say, hey man, hey, get some Latin woman, get some other whatever woman, you gonna have to make choices, or you gonna have to quote unquote,
I'm gonna say
know what? You know what you do right then, because it happened.
Let me give y'all some perspective.
I just want to say this.
Let me give y'all.
I just want to say this. You right, brother. So what you do is you change the definition of a hoe.
Go ahead, Uru,
No,
please.
you don't
You know
change.
Go
what?
ahead,
I'm
Uru.
You
gonna
don't
keep it a
change the
buck.
definition
That's
of a
the
hoe.
whole purpose of
Go,
it.
go ahead, Uru.
To give you all some perspective of how far afield things are. Just to give you some perspective. This is an anecdote, but it'll give you some perspective. Both of my wife's grandmothers and my wife's mother, my mother-in-law, all died widows. They were all widowed. They all died widows. That's the woman I married.
Exactly.
How many of you all are be able to marry that kind of woman?
Well, I married 2 of them.
Well,
Um,
somebody got to
No,
look at the
the
Irish and shit
question
over
is,
here, but
Rod, how many of us would want to?
I
oh, I
would.
do.
I mean, it's plenty of brothers that
Yeah.
want to do it. At the end of the day, that ain't gonna
Wait,
kill
wait a
them.
minute. Hold on. Damn, y'all talk too quick. Interrogate that statement, please, somebody.
who?
Let
You
me
talking
say
about the one you just made?
Now,
before we interrogate that.
what does that question mean to you, brother?
Exactly.
Hold on,
What does that
let me
question mean?
let me say this real
Yeah.
quick. Shout out to Afro Merchant. Appreciate you, brother. He said Roger Bell money. Hashtag support Black Men Media. Hashtag long live habitual line steppers. I appreciate it big time, brother. And I don't think I'm gonna need no bail money. But
Nah, he gonna need canteen,
no,
not bail money.
but
Canteen.
to not let this statement
Now,
go.
Roger, let me ask you this question, Roger. What's the highest status a woman can achieve?
Is to be a widow.
A wife.
A
A
widow.
wife.
No, not a wife, because a
No,
wife
a
can get
widow.
out. A widow.
A wife can come and go. A wife can come and go. A widow is a permanent honored status. So when
Yes,
I
Okay. I
said
agree.
that
I
my
agree.
wife's grandmothers and my mother-in-law died widows, that means that's what my daughter, my wife was raised by those women. My
mm-hmm.
daughters knew those women. They were raised by those women. My oldest daughter is married. My youngest daughter, we're still working on her. So that's the environment that the women in my family came up under. My sister is married. My sister has been married for almost as long a period of time as I have. My younger sister.
How old are these
That's
women?
the environment that the women, which women?
The women that you're referring to.
Which women?
You talking about your sisters?
Well,
Which
I mean,
women? I
What's the
mean,
matter?
we're talking 50s, 60s. I'm not going to be too specific. 50s, 60s women. Yeah.
He
yeah,
talking about silent
You know what? One thing
generation.
I did notice though,
no. I'm just gonna say the age range ain't really the issue. It's just the type of stuff they come from. I done found out.
Yeah.
I got
I'm
cousins.
just, look, and look, I'm not saying this to brag or anything like this. I'm just trying to provide some perspective on. So when you're having
oh no, you need to
conversations
brag.
about
No,
whether or not you can have, no, I'm saying whether you can have get a woman to commit to something. If you're not talking about what background that woman came out of, man, she
Yeah,
just blowing smoke up your ass,
yeah.
cuz she
No,
can
no,
tell
no.
you
no,
anything.
And
but
I
that's
want to say I want to
so
say
you're
this
supposed
real
to pick
quick.
a winner though. No.
Hold on.
So
Let me
you're
let me
supposed to
put
pick a winner.
as you should. You want the odds and percentages in your favor now. But I'm
You're
just gonna say
supposed to
this
pick a winning woman.
because I don't want to let something that we said we ain't gonna let go. I don't want this to be let go. And I done
Yeah,
found out I
yeah.
got
Don't let it go.
cousins. Yeah, I got cousins. Not even my aunties and uncles. I got cousins that's been married for decades at this point. You know what I'm saying? I got cousins that's already got 4 decades in a marriage. Now, this is not my mom and my daddy. This ain't my aunties and uncles. This is our generation. They've been married
I'm,
for 4 decades plus so far. And I got plenty of married cousins. Real
So
I'm
talk.
still I'm
when I
still waiting on you to finish that homework assignment I gave you on that.
when I when I
Well,
made the statement when I made the statement about this is what you're going to offer your kid as a mother, and I think Uru said it more eloquently than I did. It's about pedigree. See, and and it's about, and I keep
Exactly.
telling y'all this, but Roger keeps ignoring me, but it keeps coming up time and time again.
What?
If the grandma was a hoe, the hoe is in the blood. The hoe is in the
Yeah,
blood.
it's in the blood.
It's in the bloodline, bro. And
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Okay, now hold fast, because after him, I got to get something else in, hey, put for the person that's backstage, put your initials in the private chat, because I'm pretty sure this is you. But just put your initials in the private chat, just so I'm sure, because I'm pretty sure this is who I think it is. But go ahead, brother. Finish your statement. My bad.
No problem. But I'm just telling y'all, man, it's the holes in the blood. Like there's look, the great grandma was a widow. The mother has been married, and now the child been married, right? It's in the blood, and then on top of that, raised that way, and that's the pedigree. And
the
so,
pedigree. Exactly.
and see, grandma, right, had a baby by the pastor, but told granddaddy it's his, and it wasn't. Shout out to Viola Davis. And grandma was in the back of the meat market in the
Wait,
butcher
what?
shop, blowing people for a 50 cent so she can bring some bread home. It's in the blood, right? So you gotta talk to the grandma. God got to talk to the grandma.
All right, I guess I'll get in this opening
No,
statement then.
yeah, well, hold fast, real quick, and I will be swapping some people in and out because I got somebody else backstage, and I just tried to bring them up, but we out of room. I can only have 10 people at a time. So if y'all get knocked off, you don't got to disappear. I'm just gonna flip people in here and there. So
Hey,
don't think
Roger,
you're
I
getting
got to
kicked
go
off.
back to work, man. But thank you for having me up.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you coming, and I know you have been here before because I remember you now. So I know you have been here a couple times before. So, and I appreciate your perspective, real talk. Appreciate your perspective, real talk. Okay.
We letting that nigga escape. We supposed to interrogate that nigga.
Oh no, man! I'll be back for about
Nah,
interrogation.
you
I can understand.
running, boss.
Yeah, we was gonna get to that statement though. We definitely was gonna get to the statement.
Gary, before you go,
I understand.
Gary,
I
before you
understand.
go, my brother.
Y'all can have a piece next time I come back.
Hold on, Gary, before you go, I just want to say, 23andMe is your friend, my nigga. Get his going.
Damn. Damn. Cold blooded.
All right, Gary,
gentlemen.
take it easy, Gary. Take it easy, brother. We'll see you next time. All right. Yeah, I got to get Inspired Truth in here, and No Placeholder also came up, and I'm also gonna bring up what is it? Deport 304. I'm bringing them. So y'all, can we let all three of these guys get their opening statement in before we start taking it other directions? Inspired Truth. Inspired Truth. You got it, brother. You got it.
All right. Am I coming in loud and clear? Can you hear
You know what? No Placeholder actually beat you here. I'm looking at the thing. No Placeholder actually beat you here, so I got to give it to him first. No Placeholder.
So let him go, Roger. Let him go. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
All right. So peace to you, Raj. Peace to the chat, and also to the folk on the panel. So here's something. We got like three different issues going on here. Like the first issue is the whole paradigm that we were sold is kind of like a flawed premise to begin with. The whole idea of like, oh, you get married for love. Like, no, you don't get married for love. You can't even measure that stuff. Like, you get married when you don't even think about marriage until you get allegiance. Like, that's the only reason to actually get married. If you have that allegiance if that woman has allegiance for you. The second thing is that whole provision thing. It often ends up becoming like a moving, chasing target type deal. There's the old deal of, oh, okay, I need a provider and whatnot. So they're talking about like the top 10% of men, the top 5% of men. Most men are not going to be that man anyway. So it's basically just a kind of a talking point. And then if you get there, when you do get there and you are the top 3% and the top 2%, I can tell you, chick will get used to that and she'll still spit in your face. Like it isn't what you think it is. And then finally, like that third thing, like if once we get to this point, like we're at now and beyond that, where it's like 67% or and even in Colombia, it's like something like 87% out of wedlock birth. You get to once you're to that point, like you ain't gonna have anybody to date if you and it's not going to go anywhere. You can't deal with moving the entire group forward in a way that's going to move things back if you get to this point where it's 60%, it's 70%, it's 80%, it's 90%. And now you're saying, well, okay, well, if you're from that 60%, that 90%, that 99.9%, then I guess I just can't date you. That's not going to work. That's not going to be sustainable, like in reality. Like, so we're going to have to like go find some way to reconcile and put stuff back on track, even though we might have chicks that are coming from not married households. So yeah.
Once again, bro, keep doing it.
It sounds like oh, how can that ever occur? How can that ever?
How could I keep jumping off the same building?
I know, but look. Here's the deal: like, you have the structure that people were born into, and then you have the baseline of their allegiance. Like, that's two different things. Like, if somebody has allegiance to something, that is a separate issue from their family home dynamic. So, okay, you might have some instructions of blah, blah, blah to give, but what somebody decides to put their belief in and their faith in and all of those things in, that's a different story. That's why you can have like church girls that didn't necessarily come out of like a church background, because at some point in some way, they end up deciding to have their allegiance go to God. I drop it and leave it like that.
All right, let me get these other two guys in before y'all go. No placeholder seems to have gotten knocked off. So yeah, he ain't here. All right, Deport 304s, you got the mic.
Hey, Roger. Peace to the panel and chat and for the chat. Long individual line steppers. Thanks for having me up. Topic, the way you know this topic made me think about my upbringing and how a lot of the guys around me brought up. You know, marriages is always stressed, providing, protecting, leading in capacities of for the family, having a level of faith that can help guide you through the marriage. But fortunately for me, trying to institute simple instructions, I failed 3 times. Failed 3 times. First, tried to marry because she had a strong family background. And you know, growing up, you used to be able to go to the older parent or a relative, a mom or something, and say, hey, get your daughter right, or talk to your daughter. This is what she's doing. Or they saw stuff. That first marriage showed me, and I started to see how women were not trying to take accountability for stuff. They all try to explain, or maybe she did this because of this. But in the same breath, you're a good man. You're a good man. Well, if I'm a good man, what's the problem with your daughter following? Same thing with second wife. Actually, second wife. When we divorced, her dad said, I told you not to marry you. And I gave them a look like, what the hell did you tell me that? I would have listened. And the third one should have happened anyway, family full of misfits, I should say, where I'm talking about like we were just saying earlier, you guys were saying, people being married, still screwing around with other people's husbands and wives and stuff. And I just kind of lost hope after that. Like, nah, man, this is generational. Grandma, great grandma, mama's old, wife's old, man, like, God, this is crazy. But I thought I never, in the marriage, I always aspired to get that partner. I'm like, I'm not your partner. I've always thought that. I'm not your partner. I'm leaving. I'm one, you 1A. We pick up what I'm putting down, or we don't do this. Well, whatever the thing they were trying to do, it didn't happen. I'd burn the whole house up with me in it before I let that happen. And sometimes they backed off. Sometimes they tried to sneak around and use another relative to get some things done that I was supposedly cool with. And that became a disaster as well. You know, now it's their relative is going to be on their side because they relate, right, wrong, ugly, and different. And I don't see no hope for this our current situation. For today's kids and younger kids are still doing the same things that their great grandma was doing. At younger ages, 15, 14, 13. So like you can't tell them nothing until crap hits the fire, and then we still got to pull out the fire. But I'll end up playing there. Thanks for having me, Russ. I'll add on later.
Okay. And I'm going to say this real quick, too. Not that I believe it was done deliberately. I just think this is something black men do way too much of. You know, now, like the other guest did earlier before he left, and I wish I got it in before he left, but, he had to go. It is what it is. Sometimes y'all ask, well, Roger, are you married? Now, I'm gonna tell y'all what you're doing if you don't even realize you're doing it. Because like I said, your subconscious rules you. When you ask me a question like that, you are saying that a woman is more valuable than a man, and you can tell a man's value based on if he got married or not. So the woman is actually where the value is. It's not the man. Now, I know you may not realize you're doing that, but that is what you're doing. As a man, you don't need to be married to accomplish anything. You do your accomplishments outside of a woman. A woman can come and help you with your accomplishments, but you got to do your accomplishments regardless of whether you're married or not. And if the marriage, if you're asking me that, you're basically saying your manhood is wrapped into it. And it's your business if that's how you want to live your life, but you're literally saying your manhood is wrapped up in your wife. That's not a manly way to think. And I'm not saying this to insult anybody. I'm trying to wake y'all up in what we do on a regular basis because he ain't do nothing that other people ain't did plenty of other times. Your manhood is wrapped up in a woman. If you can't be a man outside of a woman, you'll never be one. And I'm telling you, this is something I learned as a child. If you can't be a man outside of a woman, you'll never be one. Because you always gonna have something in you that stops you from truly achieving it. Now, y'all do with that information what you want with it. And I'm gonna slow down right here, and I'm gonna give it to PK. Well, PK just came up, so I gotta let him get an open statement in. If that was you, was that you usual business?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question to like I said.
Hold that. Let PK get a statement in, then we'll come right to you.
No, man, no, it's okay. I don't really have a really good opening statement that'd be, world moving. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. So like I said, what I keep saying, we keep starting from the false premise. I keep saying that, right? Because what is H2? What is the what makes up H2O? What makes up water?
What you just said, H2O.
H2O, hydrogen, oxygen, right? You know what I'm saying? Right, and we know that these combination of these two elements make water, right? And the problem is we keep saying, all right, well, I want to go ahead and put another 5 hydrogen on it, and I still want it to be water. Now that's not water though.
Well,
H2O. No, seriously. I want H2O, but I want to put a couple carbons on it. I want to put a couple some magnites or whatever elements on it. At that point, that's no longer water.
Right.
If you know, we know the recipe for a decent family, right? You have to have a woman from a decent background who understands the value and who values marriage. If you don't have that, you're not going to quote unquote get the product that you want to quote unquote drink or get, right? So if you're trying to what is it? I don't know, a rock to turn into water, then who is the crazy one here, really?
But that's not completely true.
Use your business. You ask the question again, brother. Ask the question again.
We have to take usual business to my analogy class.
I want to ask the question again, brother.
What he was asked, what he meant to ask is what makes water? What are the
ask the
ingredients
question
of water?
again. What makes up? Say it again, please.
I'll say that one bad. Hold on, say that one more time. I couldn't hear you. You kind of went out.
Please ask the question again that you just asked at the beginning.
I said who was the really crazy person, right? Because we're trying to turn what is it?
No, he's asking about the water question.
I think y'all are just confused about like the whole. Well, everybody's confused about the difference between initial.
Can you just please ask the question again? What makes
Yep.
up H? Please just say that part again.
H2O, and it's a hydrogen
Okay, just stop right there.
Holes.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
Holes.
So when you ask what makes up H2O, you forgot to read the E, my nigga. You forgot to read the E. This is the problem.
I don't know how y'all let see that coming.
Getting back to this. I
didn't see that coming, boy.
We have innate ability, and then we have cultural behavior, and those like two
Hold on.
different things.
Let me land my plane. Because that was really important. The problem with all this going back and forth and intellectual masturbating is that y'all niggas just ain't reading the E. Right? It's there. The E was always there. But my nigga came up here talking about H and O, and I'm like, brother, there's the third letter there. That's all I gotta say. I'm good.
Well, okay. Well, I totally get you, but I do want to say this. To me, because what I was trying to get the show about, but sometimes shows go in a different direction, and it's fine. When a woman has the mentality that you need to be a partner and a provider, she already told you something about herself. We just ain't listening.
Those are two diametrically opposed views to begin with. You can't
Exactly.
can't be in a marriage and be or at least not in a traditional marriage anyway, and be a quote unquote partner. Those two things are diametrically opposed to what marriage actually what it means, what you're getting to.
Even before you get into a marriage, even before you get into it, if she done told you partner, and she keeps saying provider, she's telling you something. The marriage should never even come up.
She's telling you. See, niggas ain't listening. When she say provider, a pimp provides, right? And a pimp provides to who?
What a pimp hand, huh?
When she put in her photos in bikinis on TikTok and Instagram, that's what hoes do.
But even with the pimp scenario, what she is arguing against is hierarchy, and that's the thing that men do best.
Exactly.
So I mean, because the pimp is the leader of whatever hoes that he's running, and if you're talking about partnerships and marriage, then what you've done is you've basically torn down the entire hierarchy because the male sits at the head of a marriage.
That's it.
And so in this whole argument, we can even go back to their claims of patriarchy. Even though they get everything that they want out of a patriarchy, or even if it's not a patriarchy, if the men are building and maintaining the environment, they're still getting what they need out of men.
That's it. I have a question for you, sir, and this is an honest question. Because you talked about hierarchy towards hierarchy. Okay, sir. When was the last time you beat a woman with a clothes hanger?
I did what?
When was the last time you beat a woman with a clothes hanger?
I've never done that.
So you ain't a pimp. And you ain't no hierarchy. Because pimps beat women with clothes hangers.
So are you saying are you equivalating beating the corporal punishment with hierarchy?
Hold on, there say he just said you're not a pimp. Okay, so unless you've been a defend that you a pimp, I don't even see the problem.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense what he's saying.
I would just let it go, man. That's a joke.
Women
Yeah, let that one go, bro.
Yeah.
No, women out here are very transactional and they on some whole shit, right? And the only person that has ever survived hoes are pimps.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
He's not lying though.
He's
not lying.
Let me land. So if you don't got that pimp hand, I would not be out here marrying these women.
There's another group that survives that too, and that's the tricks. Just some people don't have to be tricks instead of being suckers.
Well,
here's the deal, man. If
hold on, because I hate when people go far into too much of the pimp stuff. At the end of the day, to make this more reasonable, as I've said before, if you cannot punish your woman, that ain't your woman.
I agree with that.
If you can't tell your woman to deny her of something or extract some form of punishment, whatever form of punishment that makes sense, if you cannot do that, she's not yours.
She's not yours.
At the end of the day, ain't no black woman finna be your partner because she don't respect you enough to listen to you as a partner. So
I wanted to
partnerships don't
get
work.
directly to that. Just to get directly to the topic or the statement of the video itself, I mean, or the live itself, I mean, if you're a man and you have any interest in being married at any point or being tied to any individual woman at any point, then partnership shouldn't be a discussion ever.
Exactly.
It's not a thing. Partnership is not the goal for why two people become a union in a marriage. It's just not. If you're doing that, then you're doing what a marriage, or you're doing something different from what a marriage actually is. You're doing something else.
Well,
I
all
got
I'm
two
going to
things
You
to
can
say.
call it marriage, but that
Let
isn't
me
marriage. That's something different.
let me say these two things right quick. Right quick. First, what woman, sir? These are hoes. And secondly,
Really?
Hey, I'll take it one step further. What marriage, sir? These are at will contracts.
yes.
Exactly.
And
And
secondly,
if that's the case, then you have to treat it as such, and then you need to discard pretty much everything that you would traditionally associate with being tied to that person over a lifetime.
okay,
All right, now,
that was first. And secondly, I'm not done. Thank you.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Secondly, are, are we raising these girls to be wives?
That's
No.
not our problem, though.
No.
Y'all want wives badly. I don't know why, but y'all want wives. Or are they being raised by their parents? And I'm putting that on both parents to be somebody's wife.
The answer is no across the board in America. That isn't really even a discussion. I thought we came to that conclusion. Most people here in America do not raise wives. It just is a fact. Like you already discussed, these women are whores mostly, for the vast majority. It just is what it is. If you're trying to marry most of the women here, they are engaged in open air prostitution. We just don't call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to address, shout out to Chef Mike. He said, Roger, has your theory ever been proven? Okay. Now, he did say something else that I just peeked out. He said, you have never done what you are proposing, so it's unproven. No, I'm going to say this, Chef. I'm going to say this.
No, it's proven.
We ignore a lot of information. Back in the day, a woman, when, ended a marriage, she was put to death. That's just a real thing. People got stoned back in the day. It wasn't even a nice death. They'll put you on a wall and they stone you because you ended a marriage. Man come home, another man in his bed. They take that woman out there and stone her.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing that happened in history. So I ain't gonna say it ain't never worked because it did work. Okay, it's
It
just
did work.
that was back at a time where men required a life for life. I'm gonna give you my life, and I'm requiring yours for mine. And all I'm saying is we're now at a point in history where that is not what's happening. We don't require lives anymore for a life. We will say we'll give our life, then we get into this thing, and then somebody makes a rulership, and then we agree to it. I'm not down to no man for doing that. I understand how society is, but I am saying, as men, it is okay for us to at some point look back and see where we going wrong on something so we can get it fixed up. So all I'm saying is let's just look back.
Yeah, I
So
want to say something on that really quickly, because just because you don't have the individual experience doesn't mean that you don't know something about it. That I don't agree with that. A wise man learns from other men's mistakes, right? And so
facts.
we can see. I mean, we can just see how it is, right? We can see American parents do not produce wives. Right? The gentleman just said it. So at the end of the day, it's going to be very hard to have a long-lasting marriage where people become widows and widowers.
But I mean, does our environment produce? I mean, does our environment support that old notion of wives anyway? That's one of the biggest problems here. Is our environment
No,
doesn't support that anymore.
well,
I mean, because
since
our words don't mean anything anymore. That's the actual problem. Because you live in an environment where a person can sit up here and say, "Yes, I will do this," and then look at you, then turn around and not do it, right?
Well,
In
hold
a
on a
different time
minute.
period, in a different in a different time period, right? If you went to a man and said, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna quote unquote do this," that man expected that shit to be quote unquote be done. The only thing that was quote unquote excusable was either you died or you just couldn't make it, or something like a life threatening event, basically either something close to death, right? The problem
Getting
is
away from his
when you live in a
question.
world, where your word no longer means anything. When you live in a world where your word no longer means anything,
Okay,
how do
well,
you exist?
all I'm suggesting is we as the people, we are also part of the environment. When we say environment as if it's somebody else and not us included, we all are the environment. So
Yes.
I'm looking at what the environment is doing, and I'm saying, hey, we probably should do something else because this way ain't working. That's all I'm saying.
That's
This
a
ain't
fact.
working.
I'll throw in.
I'm just saying, I'm suggesting something that just simply got
Different.
better results. Life for life. It's just used to have better results.
But what you're
So
talking
this
about
is
also
something
is
I
the
was.
master-servant relationship, because that's basically a marriage doesn't work without the master-servant relationship. The man is the master, the woman is the servant, and so are the children. This is
I
the
mean,
only framework in which I can see it working.
I mean, you could use a term master servant, but I don't see that because what I see in marriages that work is you have a man that
I don't
submits a
necessarily
lot
agree
of
with
his
that either.
life to doing good things for some woman. He
Yeah,
does not deal with her from a master standpoint, like people are going to think of the term master. A
Nah, see, I don't
man
think of it
gives
like
a whole lot to his wife.
okay,
yeah,
think about it like
the
this,
guys actually
because
do what they say they're
I'm
gonna
talking
do.
about it in the
That's
form
what
of
we do, right?
hierarchy. I'm talking about it in the form of a hierarchy. He is still over that woman, no matter how you twist it. But
True.
at the basic premise of it, it's a master servant relationship. If she has to
I don't
submit to
know if
him,
I don't know if I agree with that, bro. I think it's more so engaged in like I mean like most frameworks
We
that
said
are
front
actually healthy are mostly involving reciprocity, whether through the family formation or through the extended family, etc. It
well, your
isn't
definition is too rigid.
necessarily.
Your definition is too rigid because you have reciprocity. Okay, if you go and work for somebody and that person is your boss, that is a master servant relationship, no matter how
We're
you
not
spin it.
we're not talking about that though.
We're talking about
We're
marriage.
equivocating.
Yeah, we're equivocating, but there is reciprocity between the husband and the wife, just like there's reciprocity between the father and the child, or the boss and his employee. And that's where I'm coming at this from. It's a master servant relationship at a hierarchical level, no matter how you spin it.
Well, I don't necessarily entirely degree. It's a matter of degrees. Like how what do you mean by that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If
it's
we're
a
on the
matter of
same
degrees. I
page.
agree with that.
We're on the
Yeah,
same.
because
We're
my
on the same
boss is
page.
not my master. Because at the end of the day, I can give me another job, quote
Well,
unquote,
I'm gonna say,
or make my own job.
I think
I'll go
Trail
with leader
Benny just
follower.
put a better way to phrasing it that would actually be more accurate.
What
Is more of a
what
servant leader relationship.
what does what if you're in martial arts? Isn't the teacher referred to as master?
Precisely.
Yes. I'm not. Look.
So
I'm not
so
the.
so 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 you guys, the problem with this discussion is you guys have too much of a myopic view of what the term master means.
Exactly.
That's the
That's exactly
problem with
what I'm
this
saying.
discussion.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
if I
the
can
imagery
add
of
something,
slavery that makes it good.
really quickly.
No,
I
but
think
before you add up, I'm gonna just say this. I don't actually disagree with him. I just know that's a hard word for some people to deal with. But when it comes, but I'm gonna say more accurate, a servant leader, because when it comes to a master, you know what I'm saying. A master is not necessarily required to do anything for his servant. In a
That's a
marriage,
fact.
you
That's
are
why I'm so
required to do.
careful about the terminology.
Yeah, if you're in a marriage, you are required to do something for your wife. It is a requirement to that. But go
It's
ahead.
a reciprocity between
I
because
think
a man doesn't have to have reciprocity
you
with
need
his
to
slave.
Hey,
No.
Pastor.
The master in martial arts is required to guide, instruct, and lead
That's
the
called a
pupil.
sifu or a teacher.
That's a
It means the same
requirement
thing. Yeah,
to
it means
be
the
a
same.
master.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
But
first of
there
all,
Yeah.
are.
hold on.
I'm not
First of
arguing
all,
that in martial
So
arts.
look, just because listen to me. Just because someone's a master does not mean he is not required to does not have requirements to that relationship.
But we're
Just because you're a master does not mean it's not a reciprocal relationship. In most
Well, like I
cases,
said, we're
when you
splitting
move
hairs.
outside of chattel, in most cases, when you move outside of chattel slavery, master, servant, master, whatever means different things. And they have requirements, reciprocal requirements to each other.
But
But
Okay, I'm
Black
gonna
Rule,
say this.
no,
Black
hold
Black
on,
Rule.
man, hold on. I'm saying Black Rule is correct, but that's the way reason I moved from master because you can put in chattel slavery where the master's not required to do anything for the slave. So that's why I said it's more accurate to say servant leader because now a person can't throw in this arc about slavery to prove a point. No, so servant leader is going to be better. So you don't get because if you have this discussion, somebody gonna throw in, well, what about chattel slavery? And the master didn't have to do nothing for a slave, and they would be correct.
And the
Well, I'm
employee
gonna say
cut off.
servant leader doesn't matter, master doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's about love. We're people with emotions. A lot of things that husbands do is for love. Things that fathers do is damn sure for love because they're your children, right? And children are going to get more of your unconditional love, or they should, than your wife. So I mean, we're missing that part. So it's we like to take things too technical, and we're missing the human part of it, right? Because a good husband, which most black men are going to do the emotional labor because they love their wives.
I'll say it again. Forget about love. Go for allegiance.
Let me land.
Allegiance.
A father, which most black men are great fathers, love their children. They're going to sacrifice. They're going to do all the things necessary to give their children a better advantage than what they have, right? So that's that love aspect there. So you can call it servant, whatever, but at the end of the day, bro, especially when it comes to your children, that is love.
No, no, it's not.
No.
No.
Wait. That's it. Let me help him. I have a deep appreciation for that word. However, that isn't the only binding, decision behind why a person would even engage in marriage. It is important,
right? That's what I'm
but
saying.
there are other reasons and more predominant primary reasons behind why marriage even takes place.
Okay.
Love is a great portion of a marriage at a certain point, but it isn't the main factor by which people decide to get married in the first place, or what sustains a marriage over time.
I just want to tap one statement.
Nobody's saying that that's the reason why. I'm saying like when you're in the marriage, right? And then we're talking about the servant leader and hierarchy.
That's not even the primary reason by which people make decisions in the marriage. That isn't it.
It is the primary.
It's one of the reasons. It isn't the primary one. No.
But look, here's what I was saying to that statement about love and unconditional. Love without conditions is folly. It's folly. You cannot have effective filial love without the conditions that supports that type of love that you're trying to give, or else it's unrequited love.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to have conditions.
Well, first of all, I said to your child, not to your wife.
Even to your children, you have to have conditions, or else you're not raising them. And one of those conditions that you place on children when you're raising children is punishment. That is a condition.
But punishment is a part of love.
Okay, and I'm glad y'all saying all that because all that makes sense. And all I'm gonna say is I'm a very consistent.
They're not unconnected, so I don't necessarily entirely disagree with you, bro. But
let unsaid, it can be.
Y'all, we can let that piece go because I think y'all done came together enough on it. So we can let that go.
I want to land right here, please. Please let me land. The Bible says this, and it's very clear, right? If your chastisement or punishment is part of love. If I don't love you, a father who never chastises doesn't love their children.
Yeah. The Bible actually says you hate your children if you want to do it. So yeah. So I think we've come together on that. I'm gonna say shout out to Trust. Appreciate you, sister. She says, Roger, you've done it again. Masterfully, might I add. Well, thank you so much, sister. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I really do.
Man,
Now,
she be lying to Roger all the time.
don't hate, bro. Don't hate. Don't hate. She's smiling. She can't be lying. She's smiling. uh, now I'm gonna say this. I'm a very consistent man, y'all. Very consistent man. Especially if you listen to some of my channels that I've lost. What have I told y'all time and time again? If a man was brought into a courtroom and you told me that he did something to his wife, what did I say is automatically going to be what I determine the case to be? I said not guilty every single time. Okay? Every single time. And y'all ain't game over one scenario where I moved off and not guilty. That's between him and his wife. That's their business. Now, I understand why men are hung up on marriages because it's about what happens if the woman gets a divorce. All I'm saying is things seem to be a lot better when men require a life for a life. I'm gonna give you my life, I'm gonna pledge my life to you, but you must pledge yours to me. And if you refuse to honor that pledge, you could even be put to death. And
You have to draw a
it seemed like we
separation,
had a
Roger.
much. I'm just saying we seem to have much better societies during those times.
You have to draw a separation, bro. If you only employ the old definition of what it means to be married in the modern context, you'll be fucked. It isn't a good idea.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying maybe men need to reassess what we're going to require.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but you have to also get everyone, I guess the entire society, on board with that notion.
The best way
and
to
currently
get a society,
we're not in that predicament.
The best way to get a society on board with something is to introduce the idea.
And to start
It's
with
been
yourself.
introduced countless times. Yeah, I agree. It's been introduced countless times.
Well, what
but
are the incentives?
There are multiple. Sorry, go ahead.
I think men have a lot of incentives to start agreeing with what I'm saying because the stuff I'm hearing about, to me, that's just more incentive, more incentive, more incentive.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that incentive. Men have the incentive, but if the women can voluntarily enter the marriage, then what incentives do the women have?
No, you're not seeing this full-throatedly. There are
Survival.
multiple disincentives for men and for
No,
women.
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about under Roger's scenario, because women have all the incentives now. But under Roger's scenario, with what he's presenting, what incentive do women have to enter that contract with you?
None.
Oh, wait, I can answer that.
They
First of
survive.
all, their survival is assured. They don't have to do what they're doing now, which is work themselves into oblivion.
They don't have to do that in the first place. They choose to do that.
No. This is just wait, hold on. Have you seen these women sleeping in cars?
They make that decision because they are failures as human beings. They don't actually have to do that.
No, they made that decision because they don't have any other place to go, bro.
But that goes along with the answer to Roger's question. If you're married, that doesn't happen to you.
To me, women have a lot to gain by getting married. Whole lot to gain. Yeah, a stable place to live is, yes, that's usually going to be part of what you gain. You're going to have a man that's willing to protect you, and you're going to have his friends willing to protect you. You're going to have his relatives willing to protect you. You're going to have whatever groups he associates with willing to protect you. Seems like you get a whole lot. Not only that,
Roger, can I ask you a question?
No. I disagree
Can I
with
ask you?
y'all. I disagree with
Wait.
everybody.
I need to ask a question.
I got smoke for everybody on that one.
No, I don't care about the smoke. Let me ask a question to Roger. I want to ask a question to the host.
Don't have to negotiate their survival with us
I
anymore.
really don't care about your question because it isn't important, unfortunately.
It's not a question.
I need
It's
to
a
ask.
statement.
That statement isn't good enough. I need to ask an important question that'll probably help you with your statement. Probably, if you give me the chance.
What's your question, sir?
Roger, I need to know, are we talking about the world as it stands currently, or are we talking about the world we want to see in the future or the world in the past? I need to know.
I'm saying you got to take what you have right now, and if you don't like what you have, you're going to have to make some changes so it will become the world you want. That's just life.
No. We need to talk about what we're discussing in this moment? What are we discussing right now?
What we're discussing in this moment, which I
Well,
personally and I'm wholeheartedly believe.
here is the fundamental. Here's the fundamental problem with what you proposed, Roger, from this so-called man standpoint. You got this thing they call a white man in America. And that white man ain't going to be necessarily on the same agenda that you are on. In fact, it's been the white man who has largely gotten us into this particular position we in. Somebody earlier mentioned there's the great white man, Ronald Reagan, who instituted this no-fault divorce thing in California, 55 years ago. So the problem, look, if we could all, as a group of men, form of like, quote, Voltron, y'all like to use, and all be on one agenda, then resolving these problems would be fairly easy to do. We could simply collectively overwhelm the women and institute our patriarchal order. That's not going to happen in America. In fact, amongst other groups of men, there is an actual sort of motivation, and Nameless was here earlier. He eloquently describes the notion of the in group and outer group. I'm misciting the terminology. I wish he was here to much more eloquently describe it. I am, but essentially in America, you got groups of men pitted against each other, and in particular, groups of men pitted against ADO's FBA American men. So the problem I have with what you're saying, look, I think a lot of what you would want could get done if all the men would agree with Roger. I'll accept that. I'll accept that as the argument. If we all did what Roger wanted to do, I think we could do this. I don't trust the other 87 or whatever percent of men in America to ever be on an agenda that would be to the benefit of the 12 or 13% of Black American men.
Well, even if
that's
we
my
up
earnest
those
view.
numbers,
To me, that's more. To me, it's less about whether I agree with what you're saying and more about I question the actual viability of it, given the environment we're in.
thank you, Uru. And this is what I was trying to get to the heart of, is that we're talking about the world and and whether or not. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm going to agree with Black Rule about the feasibility, because at the end of the day, between the white man and the coons that's going to stand with the white man to sabotage, because let's remember, right? It's always going to be a nigga that's going to get you that was paid by the white man. So at the end of the day, even if we're all on one accord, that coon ain't going to let it happen.
Look, I'm not saying anything is going to happen perfectly or overnight, but great changes usually take great time. Just because you started now don't mean you'll necessarily benefit from it, but you got to change stuff. And sometimes it takes hundreds of years to change something, sometimes thousands.
See,
It is
Roger,
what it is.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna land my plane here, Roger.
Well, we all about to land it. We over the 3 hour mark. We about to all land real soon.
I'm just gonna say this real quick. We, the Black men, are tired. We want blowjobs and biscuits, man. We ain't trying to fight no more civil actions, right? We ain't trying to do that no more. We done.
I can agree to that, and I'm also say I think white men have been taking some medicine that they ain't want to take, that we at this point can start to lead them into at least one thing that we can agree on. Now, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be perfect agreement. I'm not saying they're not gonna be who they are. I'm not gonna say they ain't gonna try to double cross us at certain parts. But at the end of the day, man, if grown men can sit in the jury box, and every time somebody come in there talking about what somebody did to his wife and just look the other way, we'll have great impact right away.
Is there a jury even involved in divorce court? Like,
no.
I don't think that's how that works.
No. Truth be told, one or two incidents will change stuff immediately. If you get one guy in court, the way we got media now, you get one guy in court, he come in there and they say he done either hurt his wife or let's say he done took it to the ultimate. He done killed his wife. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to do that, but I'm saying, what if he did? He go to one court case and everybody here, they got all the evidence they need, and the jury go back there and say, okay, we came to a conclusion, not guilty. And then,
that changed the world.
Hold on. They go out and people gonna ask them, well, how did y'all come to this verdict with all this information that was exposed? We seen it on camera. We got the knife. We got everything. And then people just say, well, man, he was married to her. What? We ain't touching that. Boy,
I'm gonna tell you why that ain't gonna work. They have this thing with I don't know how to say it legally, but the judge can literally say the jury has lost their mind and change the verdict.
No, I understand. I understand there is something like that that's in place, and that's why I said the first one gonna be shot, and I get that. Number 2 and number 3 gonna be make a huge statement.
Roger, you're right. It worked for OJ, so you're right. You're right. It worked for OJ.
OJ did not kill that woman. OJ did not kill that woman. But I got look. We passed the mark already, and I gotta get a mic to the most important person here today, y'all. The most important person here. We got Truth Teller who literally came. No. Truth Teller then came after the 3-hour mark, so he can tell us how he feels. So he got to be the most important person here because he coming after the show's supposed to be over with to say what he got to say.
We don't want to hear nothing he got to say. Black Guru, take us home, sir. Take us home.
See, y'all don't even understand. Y'all don't even understand. I seen Truth Teller in the chat a long time ago, but he said, no, I'm coming up now. I'm coming up now.
Listen. My origin story requires this. I'm just saying.
Look. See, his mic ain't even working right. He's echoing and everything. We don't want to hear none of that. So we gonna bring up our vocalist, Black Aloysius Guru, and let him take us home.
The treble in my voice is shaking your manhood. You gotta be quiet. That's all that is. Gotta be quiet.
No bass. He ain't got no bass back there. No bass.
Just let it ride, players. Just let it ride.
Hey, we got a room up here. We don't talk to men in the bathroom, bro. You gotta get out the bathroom, man.
This is what we gonna do.
You gotta hit him with some subwoofers, bro.
This is what we gonna do.
I'm in a hall, actually.
Truth Teller, you ain't got to change that. This is what we gonna do. We gonna close the show out, but Truth Teller gonna get the last word. That's what we gonna do. Truth Teller, you say whatever you want to say, and you get the last word, and you don't have a 2-minute restriction if it takes you long. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
It ain't gonna take me longer. I'm just gonna give you some pretext, and then I'm gonna roll into it. I am a feminist. I believe in equality. I've been married for more than 20 years. I got 3 kids, male and female. I am disappointed in all you old niggas on this panel, because y'all niggas is still trying to argue what marriage used to be and how to apply it now. When these young niggas that moved on and they don't have no problems not marrying these hoes. So y'all niggas is stuck in a rut because y'all are old. Stop being an old nigga and roll with it. These young niggas already made the decision. They not marrying nobody, but they still having kids. And the society ain't crumbled yet. So I don't even know what y'all niggas is over here arguing. Who gives 2 craps about court cases if you ain't married? Now what they're gonna try to do is try to get you into court even though you ain't married. Shout out to Tiger Woods, he dodged the bullet. Okay, all right, Tiger, cool beans. The rest of y'all niggas gonna have to worry about that, but that's a young nigga problem. I don't even know why y'all arguing the old merits of marriage. That shit is dead. And Bastard Kids is who we watch on TV. Shout out to y'all.
Well, y'all, I said I was going to give him the last word, so whether you agree or not, he got it. It's been a fantastic show. I appreciate everybody who came up, everybody who supported the channel, everybody who dropped some cash on it. I appreciate all that. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe, and we do this 9 a.m. Monday through Fridays, y'all. 9 a.m. Monday through Fridays. This Sunday coming up, we're gonna do a cultural review of the movie Idiocracy. So watch that film if you want to join us for that. That should be Sunday at 6 p.m. Chicago time, not your time. And we'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Chicago time, not your time. Okay. It's been great, y'all. I appreciate everybody's input. Shout out to Gary that was up early but had to leave. And I know you thought I was gonna be mad at you, but now, brother, I appreciate everybody's input. At the end of the day, y'all, it all works out. I'm just giving us something to think about. I know what's gonna be required in my marriage. You require what you want in yours. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right, and I'm out.